You know, me just saying it out loud just now, I may have to consider looking into grave digging. That actually sounds like a pretty good idea.
Grave digging?
Yeah, I mean, just listen to your iPod, sit in a park, and like dig a hole. Sounds easy. I wonder if there's a market for that.
This has gotten real dark.
That's not that dark. Bodies need holes.
We know what the next step is. Digging yourself that hole.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Quick and Response Podcast.
They got back to me right away. Giant corporations like, no, nothing. Like Sony, no. Nintendo, no. Stuff like that. Oh, yeah. I guess Nintendo did got back to me, but their way of doing it is like way super official, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, they want a bunch of site traffic data and stuff, and I'm just like, I just want to know like when to show up to see stuff. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
This doesn't seem like it needs to be this serious. Like, I'm going to be at the conference you guys are at. Do you have a thing?
Like, do you have an extra seat?
Yeah.
If like, not, that's cool too.
Yeah, I could stand in the back and just watch the demo or something. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Not demanding.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Like, it's like we need an official Nintendo contact at Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
And to apply for one of those is like this huge red tape festival, and I don't want to do that. So, I don't know.
If I get bored one day, maybe I'll do that.
Like, just like, here's all the stuff. Do we qualify? Like, at least find out.
And that's just like, next year, it's like, guess where we're going? Japan. To see the unveiling of something.
They invited us to the new Space World. Weird.
Wait, what?
Space World is the Nintendo event, apparently. Like,
that's what it's called?
Yeah, they would counter-program like Tokyo Game Show and have an event around the same time.
Fantastic.
Called Space
That's
World.
amazing.
Yeah. I've kind of been going down this weird, like... Well, mainly I watched through my 2004 E3 GameSpot DVD.
Okay.
Like, just to look at, like, old E3. Sure. And it's just like, oh, man. This, like, some of it hasn't changed at all. Other stuff, like, it's just like rockin' montages were just the thing you'd see at press conferences. It's just like, we got some mediocre, like, rock song, and we got, like, 12 games, and we're just going to chop up footage and intercut between them. And just
you're going to need a montage.
Yeah. Or, like, Nintendo's thing, like, in weird font, like, it was just like, games worth playing, like, damsels worth saving, heroes worth adventuring with, and stuff like that. Like,
amazing.
Just, like, over and over, and just like, okay. And it was like Metroid Prime 2 or something.
You know, I think it was Patrick on the Bombcast, how he was talking explicitly about how it was cool in, like, 97 or something, being one of the first people to see Metal Gear Solid before it hit shelves in, like, 98 or 99 or whenever it did, like, when they were still making it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that a thing anymore? Like, is there anything to really, that's like, this is so groundbreaking, I can't wait to be the first person to see it. Like, is there a game like that anymore?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I felt like the smallest version of that when I saw and played, like, Wonderful 101 or something, and then, like, a month later heard people saying, like, man, I heard about this crazy game Platinum's working on.
Oh, yeah.
Really, like, Mega 64 was talking about it or something. I was just like, oh, yeah, I played that. It was okay. Like, something like that. But there hasn't been
that sort of stuff, like, will be like the Nintendo stuff, right? Because they're the ones, like, even though I'm not a huge fan of what they're doing with their systems, they're the only ones really trying to iterate away from first-person shooters for the most part, for their big announcements.
For this year, I'm expecting them to have, like, the most fully developed stuff, right? Because they have a console that's been out for, like, 7 months.
Sure.
So they could be like, hey, we have Zelda, and here it is. You can play it. Like, here's the new stuff. It's over there.
Right.
Kind of thing,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, Nintendo's probably the only real candidate for the, like, big companies that will probably present something worthwhile being on the ground floor on.
I guess. Like, I definitely didn't feel too bad about seeing the Wii U and stuff last year, even though people have been scoffing at that thing like crazy. It's
Well, again, that was Nintendo. I guess what I'm saying is that, like, you're not expecting any revelations from Microsoft or Sony, really, right?
Well, I guess
like TV box and Call of Duty.
I know. I'm still kind of holding out a bit of hope for some stuff because it's just like the way I've heard this rationalized is they wanted to get the dumb stuff out of the way.
Okay.
The actual E3 show is better, which of course they'd want to spin it as positively as they can because like that was a really boring conference. The thing they had, like I
didn't even bother watching it.
Yeah, it was like 45 minutes, and yeah, like TV, sports, the biggest, most obvious games, and that was it. And you're just like, oh, okay, like, why did I turn this on? Like, and then, like, to hear people kind of being like, no, dude, it just wasn't for you. It was for bros who love sports. And I was like, okay, but why would they watch this 45-minute thing on Spike if they weren't, like, really into video games? Like,
sure.
The people they wanted to talk to wouldn't have watched that. So why would you put it on TV like that? It was just weird.
Yeah, sure.
But, like, I'm hoping maybe they have some interesting stuff to kind of showcase. Like, I mean, it's all totally up in the air, like clouds. Like, who knows whether any of this will happen. But, like, just the possibilities of a Kinect thing that works. Like, the Idle Thumbs podcast has a great dumb discussion about horror games and, like, dumb things they could do with a camera live feed of you.
Sure.
Like, just kind of like, you're playing and then all of a sudden the lights go on and you're like, what? And then, oh, wait. Like, that's live footage of me on the couch, but wait, what's that? And then it's like augmented reality type stuff, and there's a dude in the room or something dumb. Like, dumb stuff could happen.
That would ruin my life.
Yeah, but I could totally get into that for at least a bit. Like, that's like the one differentiating thing.
Until it became the gimmick that a bunch of other things try to use.
For sure. Yeah, like, eventually it would become super tired and dumb, but it would still be a unique enough thing, like, one time, that I could see sort of getting caught up in it or something. But or like, you know, some really creative developers doing weird doofy stuff with that. Like, it's like, hey, Hideo Kojima, Swery, and Suda all teamed up and they made the dumbest game ever.
That'd be amazing.
Something like that. But again, like, that's just me hypothesizing. Like, the actual stuff, the list of things they have shown us, yeah, it looks really dumb. Like, are
we talking specifically about the one?
I'm sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Which, like, at worst maybe, or at best, like, it's not different enough from like anything else, like the PC or the PlayStation 4. Like, it's just like,
no, I'm gonna go the opposite direction and say that it's too much like it's too different from what a console should be. Where it's just like games aren't really the focus of this. Like, TV, that's like the next step.
The sweet new cable box, right? It's like, no, dude, I cut my cable years ago because I don't know if you heard the internet.
But maybe, like, is that where they're trying to go? Because I did hear about, like, buy NFL, Madden, whatever.
Yeah.
Get this subscription. It's like, see, that's kind of cool.
It's got your fantasy sports stats on the screen. And you're just like, okay, like...
No, but
like,
this idea that they could integrate, like, the Sports Center stuff or whatever when you play a game and you get, like, a year worth of subscription to it, so you don't have to go to television.
Like, again, like, there were definitely parts of that conference where I think the thing was, like, it's like, well, this is cool for somebody somewhere, but it's not me. Like, I don't care about this at all. Like, I would never watch that.
Right.
So, like, I just kind of just sort that out of the things I'm really focusing on. But yeah, I guess it's like some people have been looking at this as like, well, TV has been terrible for a while. And I guess so. Like, I haven't been a paid subscriber to any cable service or anything for a while, but like the stuff I've been hearing is like the menu design and the way you find programs and stuff is like way out of date and terrible. So if Microsoft wants to like fix that and make a better TV service, that's fine, I guess, but it just seems weird that they have to use video games as some sort of thing to partner up with that, or I don't know. Like, it's mixing in stuff I really don't care about into something I do, and I don't know, like, what to make of it. But, again, like, it's like a awkward first showing. Like, it was like a 45-minute thing. They kind of just touched on, like, a handful of things and then said, like, and they made the messaging clear in that thing. This isn't the big show. Like, that's in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So just stay tuned. Like, don't worry about it. So maybe things, they'll totally turn around. Like, they have the couple weeks where a lot of people are freaking out. but maybe they'll totally make good on it. I don't know. But
I don't know. As it stands right now, they're making the PS4 and the Wii U a lot more, like, a lot nicer to look at just based on some of the stuff they're doing.
Right.
So we'll see.
Immediately after it, there was a lot of talk like, oh man, did you see, like, Sony stock went up and Microsoft stock went down right after that conference. Oh. But apparently, like, this is just based off a Reddit comment, but they linked to a thing. Oh no, it was on Twitter. But there was, like, some sort of merger in Sony Japan, like, the same day.
Oh, okay.
So, like, Sony stock went up because of that.
Because they bought something else up.
Like, it was like, yeah, like, the speculation was like, oh, no, this was probably going to go up about this much anyway because of this other thing that was going on that was completely unrelated. So, like, of course people wanted to read into that, like, man, Sony got all this hype after that mediocre conference, but I don't think it's that. It's also
I'm sure it helped, though, a little bit for Sony.
Maybe. It's a weird reminder of just like, oh yeah, console wars. We haven't had one of these in like 8 years.
And the funny thing is, this is the first time that I think it'll be a resounding yes to, like, if you have to go for a console, probably a Nintendo system, because everything else, PC.
Right, like, a lot of the stuff they're showing is just like, well, no, there's a machine that already does that.
It does everything. Yeah.
Like, I'm just wondering, like, is there actually this market where there's people who are just confused and scared by computers, and they'll never get into that because they're just so tech, like, dunces?
In the market, yes. If you're talking specifically about video game market, probably not.
I guess.
If you're talking if you're talking electronics generally,
right?
Like, I think it's probably a lot nicer for, like, say, this is hard to even say because, like, people we know, our generation, are becoming the new parents and stuff, right? Yeah. So there's not really this tech illiterate parent idea anymore, because even the older generation are starting to embrace things because everything's user friendly now. So, like, it's hard to say. I don't think people are afraid of the internet. They just want everything to be easy.
They do want stuff to be easy, and Microsoft's at least saying that a lot, like, as their buzzwords, like, trying to simplify everything to one box or whatever.
Yeah.
But some of the actual nitty-gritty of what they're doing is like, well, yeah, but if you also have, like, an insane income and a huge living room, and, like, it's just like, I don't know if that person exists in the numbers you need for this to be as big a success as you want. Like, I've been reading all sorts of, like, scattered opinions all over that. The general consensus, though, like, on all the video game podcasts I listen to and stuff, seems to be pretty negative about what they've seen about the Xbox One so far. Like, it's just, like, a pretty mediocre to negative response seems to be what's happened. And I don't know. I think I'm definitely in the same boat of just being like, I am, as of right now, not impressed at all. And I also, I know it's the most basic question. Does the name bother you? Because it's still bothering me, and it's been 6 days.
What, Xbox One?
Yeah.
No, but that's mainly because I just don't care.
Okay.
At all.
You don't think you'll be talking about this thing much anyway, so who cares what it's called?
Kind of, because, like I said, the way things are going right now, like, even Microsoft are publishing things on PC, like Fez, Gears of War and stuff, everything's on PC now, too.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Gears, only the first one was, right?
Yeah, I think so, but I mean, I don't know. There's a few other problems I have. The, like, DRM stuff and the weird, like, I can't borrow your game anymore.
Without me losing the ability to play it or something?
No, it just can't happen because it's stuck on your system or whatever.
The thing is, like, that's another thing. Some of their messaging was just so unclear.
Yeah.
Like, it was like they went into this without, like, any kind of fact in hand for their employees to talk about. So it's just like...
No, but that's PR language because they have to say... They can't lie about their specs or what they're going to do, but they also can't let people know, you know that game you're going to buy? No one else in the world can play it, so you better like it for $60.
Yeah.
They can't say that.
I kind of wish they would just treat me like an adult, though, and tell me up front. It's like, so what's the answer on this? And then they're like, kind of like, one guy's saying one thing, one guy's saying another thing. They sound like they're contradictory, but who knows? Like, it's like, oh, it's a fee. No, you have to actually just buy it. No, you can own it, but we get a kick of that or something. Like, I still don't know what the current state of that used game question is. Like, what I vaguely think it might be is, like, games like GameStop and stuff can still run a business, and you can still trade in Xbox One games, but a larger cut will have to go to Microsoft from that.
The way it sounds like
will be worse.
The way it sounds like it's going to work, and this is just based on like the random weird stuff I'm hearing, because it seems like you said it's all very kind of contradictory, and they can't decide what they're saying.
So okay.
It sounds like say you're going to buy that new Halo game.
Yeah,
you put it in your Xbox. It probably downloads a patch, which also takes like the DRM or like serial number or something from the disc, and applies it directly to your Xbox in the cloud. Whatever, that's fine.
And there's a mandatory like install process this time around. So,
and you know what? That doesn't really bother me, because there almost always is anyways for something.
Yeah.
But like we'll have to see in practice how that works.
Install anyway, but
yeah,
it's a minor point. Whatever. Okay, so
you got this Halo game, you played it.
Yeah.
Now you return it to GameStop or whatever. They can go into your account and remove that disc, that game, from it. Yeah. So now somebody else can put it on their system and give you like their cash, like in-store cash back or whatever the hell they want to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like that's going to be the idea for like returning games, but also they said they were going to try to do something where you would be able to basically have like a digital version of the game and then sell that online to a friend, and then they get that like activation or whatever.
Okay.
But
and then it
I don't know.
Just devalidates it.
It sounds so messy.
It sounds a little weird, but at the same time, like, it's another kind of PC comparison, because isn't that kind of how Steam works?
Well, Steam is literally like the games are all in the cloud, and when you buy a game, you are basically buying just the ability to download it and play it for a little bit.
But I can't really revoke my ownership of a game, can I?
No, you can't.
For any kind of credit. So
in a way, they're taking it a step further.
But because there's discs involved anyway, like, there's still a physical thing. So it's a little weird, because, like, yeah, it's not like I can just bring my disc over to a friend's house and just jump in. It would be like, no, there's this whole convoluted process for this. And then when you get home, it's going to have messed up your thing. And it's just like, great. But,
like, I'm wondering if the discs are almost just going to have basically, like, a link on them. So that
realistically, though, like, I don't do that often. Like, the way games get lended around in my circle is, like, someone completes a game, they're done.
Sure.
So then they lend it to me, and then I play it. And, like, even in this new way, like, I load it up. Like, now Sean doesn't own Tomb Raider anymore, effectively, because I'm playing his copy, but then I return it to him, and then he has his license to play it again, essentially.
If that's the way it works, but the way they made it sound is that, like, literally, no. Now Sean has it, you couldn't borrow it at all, period, the end. Right.
So it's like how my BioShock Infinite PC copy is now synced to, like, it's done, that serial code is over. That disc is kind of...
But then at the same time, I could log into Steam on my computer under your name and download it. So it's still a little bit more lenient on PC.
I'm still not... Yeah, there's still confusion over, like, if I log in on my live profile on Paul's one... Could I play? Like, I don't know.
No, probably not. Like, okay. I don't know. It's so weird how they're doing that.
Like, they haven't done a good job letting me know, so I don't know.
That's
like, a lot of that information came out after anyway. Like, the actual bullet points they went down were, like, again, like TV Connect. You could watch Star Trek on it whilst also Skyping, and you're just like, great. Like, I can do that right now on my PC. What? But can you connect to do it? No. I guess you got me there.
Speaking of Connect, what do you think about that being a mandatory thing now?
It will... I don't know. Like, I haven't done enough with the Connect in general to really know how broken it was, but the promise that it isn't as broken and also allows for smaller spaces is kind of nice, because, like, I'm in the middle of a move right now, but, like, the current situation is there's a decent amount of floor space right in front of the TV, but it's not enough for Connect to deal with that, and now there's a bookcase behind the couch, so it's not going to be an easy moving situation for, like, hey, let's play some Dance Central, which sucks. But hypothetically, with this new one, it's like, oh, there's a few feet of space in front of there. That's okay.
Well, I mean, like, this is going to be, like, over the heads of anybody listening, but you've been to my old place.
Yeah.
Like, I would say we had sizable distance from the one wall where I mounted the Kinect up in almost near the ceiling to the couch, and you still could barely use it without getting your feet caught up in the couch.
That Intel discovered game, and it was still like it was sort of working, but it was also just like, no, your foot is now gone.
And I would say, like, for a standard living room, that's probably pretty standard size, right? For like somebody maybe in our age not owning a house with like a den that has nothing but a chair and like a TV in it.
I would think so, but like apartments, like a basement suite or
like
something.
Condos, basement suites, even like upstairs suites. I don't know. I think that would probably be equivalent to like the most space you would get with like living here with our income, maybe. But
yeah. So I
we're
don't
just
know,
all out of the loop now.
Yeah, maybe they're targeting a much more lofty, richer consumer for some reason, but I don't know if that's realistic on their part. Like, it's just like there's a lot more people out there that could be playing things on this. I don't know. You're kind of throwing over their heads, and I don't know why you do that. But and then like someone like I think it was Destructoid pointed this out. Like the backwards compatibility question came up, and they don't have it, which, you know, hey, whether or not you use that, that's kind of, who knows? Like, I kind of don't, at least I haven't thus far.
Yeah.
This stuff, but I do have a pretty big 360 library, so it's conceivable I might want to play something on it, but whatever. But the way they responded to it, it was like Don Matrix saying, like, you're backwards to consumers that would do that.
Oh, really? It was like, that bad?
It was pretty snarky, and then, like, their breakdown of it was just kind of like, why would you do that? Like, you're kind of, like, even if it is just 5% of people that do that, they're pretty dedicated 360 fans, apparently, because they have a lot of games.
Can I guess, just based on what you said just now, like, kind of what the PR talk for it would have been?
Okay.
We're only looking forward or something with new technology, so, like, we don't have time, or we're not able to get like old things working properly on new technology because we're moving forward. The word forward or advancing used quite a few times. I really just saw it summed up in a snarky little quote, and I don't know what the actual like. Oh, like a tweet or something?
Yeah, but it was like really blunt. It was just like, our research shows that only 5% of consumers use that feature anyway. If you're backwards compatible, the data shows you're backwards. Something like that.
Oh,
like,
my God. Okay.
It was pretty, like, slap in the face to anyone who's like, well, I got this big collection of old games. Like, can I play it on my system? It's like, no. Like, not only no, but you're stupid. Like,
now,
it's just like, why would you do that?
I was talking to Eno a little bit about this, and backwards compatibility, it's not a huge issue for me anymore, and the reason is because if Microsoft have any sense of like making money to them, and I mean they do because they charge you for online features.
Yeah.
They will take the Sony path and just be like, you know, all those games that you might want to play again anyways, we're probably just going to offer a digital download of it for like $20 or something. And people will be like, you know what, that's totally fine. We'll do that.
Yeah. I suppose, but at the same time, like, something about just the idea of having, like, literally one thing that I can play SNES games on it, NES, Genesis, whatever. Like,
we're going back to the Ouya.
I guess Ouya or like anything that supports emulation,
or PC,
like a PC.
Sure, yeah.
You know, like, that's kind of a great thing.
Well,
and for them to kind of be like, we don't even have all of our consoles available on this thing, is just kind of like, well, okay. Like, again, this I believe that this was a point Jim Sterling was hitting on pretty quickly, was they call it like a all-in-one entertainment box, but hopefully you're not a person who wants to play 360 games or Xbox games or whatever. Like, it doesn't even offer all the entertainment options Microsoft has offered over the last decade.
To be fair, Microsoft also hasn't been great about that either, because I have some Xbox One games that just aren't compatible with the 360.
Right. Like, one of the Evil Dead games works, but the other one doesn't.
And, like, one of the Castlevania games doesn't, and the other does, if I remember correctly. I have the one that doesn't, the Curse of Darkness.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, it's just weird.
It has never been a really great... Well, except since PS2 and PS1, like, was kind of when that seemed to matter, and I did play PS1 games on it. You know? Like, I was like, I want to play Final Fantasy 9. Sweet. I did that. But I guess this was also pre-achievements and pre-downloadable stuff. Like, the Xbox Live Arcade question is pretty significant. Like, it's just like, so I just have all these great games trapped on this old system now. Great.
They have to have a way to move that over.
Nothing they're saying seems to indicate they would. So I'm kind of glad I've been picking up Humble Bundles and stuff, because it's just like, oh, I'll just play Braid over here on my PC.
I've been doing that too, actually.
Like, it's like I have a lot of the same games in my Steam library now, but now they feel like they're more permanent. Like, it's like I always own this now. It's not just
like I will always have a PC in some regard.
Yeah. So I can log into my Steam account and, hey, look at that. There it is. And, like, again, if it doesn't work 100% well, like, someone's going to find a driver for it, or some modder's going to make it work. Like, it's going to work.
Somehow, yeah. Well,
I don't...
And
again,
I mean, like, you know, when we did our streaming nights for a while there, like every couple days or whatever, like when we did the PlayStation 1 or PS2 games, they were done through emulation at the time.
Yeah. And
they, for the most part, worked fine, except some of them, the emulator didn't like some of the coding for some games or something. I don't know.
Was there some dodgy frame rate on that wrestling game?
Rumble Roses, yeah, I don't know. I also didn't patch or update that emulator at all.
Okay.
So, I mean, conceivably there's a better version of the emulator or emulation for that system in general that I just didn't have. And that's on me, that's not on people. But I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things that, like, I don't know if you know, but you can emulate Wii games. Like, the PC has the capability and people to play anything on it at some point.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they're going with this. The Xbox is the TV box.
Yeah, the closed licensed system way of doing it, like, certainly doesn't appeal to me. Again, maybe there are still people that view the internet as this weird, scary thing, and they're going to get tons of viruses or something, and they don't want to do any of that. They'd rather pay Microsoft like $60 or whatever it is to protect them and keep them in this fun little entertainment bubble or something. I don't know. But I've wandered out of that, and I don't want to go back. Like, it's not gonna... I don't know how they could win me back in there. Like, you know, achievements, I'm over that. It's done.
Yeah, and you know what? If the problem is, like, we haven't found a way to make the achievements go over for your games on Xbox Live Arcade, so we don't know if those games will be there. If you're, like, doing some weird internal, like, little trophy system over getting games that people have paid for onto the new system, like, if for some reason that's a backroom thing that's like, well, we can't get the achievements working, so we're just not going to let these people play these games, or something, you're doing it wrong.
The achievements will still show up as, like, a record or something, but
who cares? Like, at the same time, if it's screwing things up with their, like, system for actually making games work, they fucked up.
I guess the one new feature that I did see that I hadn't really mentioned on anything was the friends list is way bigger now, which was kind of a weird long-term...
That's kind of a basic thing that they should have done a while ago. But
I know. It's not like, oh man, selling feature. It's more just like, hey, they finally fixed it. It's like, oh,
yeah,
great.
And we're not talking about Proton John people. We're talking about this console has been out for 8 years. I probably know more than 100 people I want to play with.
Yeah.
So...
But now it's up at 1,000 apparently. But, yeah.
And for some people, that still won't be enough.
Probably not.
But
at the same time, like, I would be just annoyed with having that much traffic on a thing. Like, it would just be like pop-ups and stuff. Like, like, notifications are the worst. I need to turn it off.
Especially those days where you are achievement hunting and somebody logs on and you just, like, your heart stops for a second and you feel so let down after.
Mm-hmm. Or I'm already kind of, like, I don't have that many people on Steam. It's like 70 or something, but still, like, TF2 and Dota invites that I just don't care about. Like, those happen. So,
yeah.
I don't want the equivalent of that.
Secondhand sarcasm is totally right. The winner of these console wars or whatever is AMD.
Yeah, I saw that post yesterday, too. Cause
yeah.
I think it's all three to some extent.
All three, and then obviously their computer lines and stuff like that. So,
no matter, even if you're like, no, man, I'm going with PC, it's like, well, they got a slice of that pie, too. Like, they're everywhere. So
arguably probably a bigger slice of that pie if you go PC, because then you're buying their thing for their, like, for the PC you're buying their card.
No way of avoiding AMD. Like, I'm not going to buy a console then. I'm going to go over here. It's like, well, okay. Like, you'll like...
I'm gonna play with this cup and ball.
Yeah.
And then you just look on the bottom, it's like made by AMD. Son of a bitch!
Yeah, they're into physical products too. It's like, well, I'll just play cards. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
I don't know, man. Xbox.
Yep, Xbox.
What about that internet connectivity where it's like, at least once a day, you must be connected? It's like, bitch, I'm connected like 24 hours a day via phone, tablet, or PC.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a huge deal, but...
It's not a big deal for me either, but again, like, I have to kind of hypothetically think of someone who lives in a more rural place. Like, a friend of mine growing up did live outside of Airdrie, and they had like some sort of crazy like satellite internet that
satellite internet, yeah.
But like, and it was like sufficient to like, I'm gonna download some Unreal mods or something. But for like, really
I played on satellite internet before. It's the worst.
Yeah, like I could see even that like being a problem. And then there's even more remote areas, obviously, that would have more problems.
Well, in the States,
like,
there's like just huge portions of nothing, and then like a couple houses in a town, right?
Yeah, there are some pretty empty states, and those people might like video games too, and I don't know. That apparently doesn't concern certain parties at Microsoft or EA or, you know, probably any of them. I don't know what Sony's stance is. That's the thing. Sony's getting a lot of like positive attention because of this, but they haven't committed to some stuff yet either. So it's kind of just like there's an absence of information, so people are assuming the best for some reason. Sony could totally bum us all out too. I don't know. They just made a better first impression with their thing.
I don't know, dude. Just the fact that like Xbox is like, yo, you know, indie devs, how you guys like to publish games on our thing? No more.
No.
That's rough.
Anymore.
That's rough.
Yeah, that is pretty lame. And like, I mean, we saw that coming with like the Xbox Live Indie game kind of dropping support for XNA and all that stuff. Like, it was like, okay, I don't like this is not a good sign. And then
that was Ian that told us, and we were just like, what?
Yeah. And then to see the kind of like, this is not carrying forward into Xbox One, you can't self-publish. It's just like, yeah, you guys I kind of figured you would be dirtbags about that. So awesome.
I don't know. We'll see where that goes, but
yeah,
it seems weird that they just wouldn't do that.
The contrast is Sony like is embracing indie devs everywhere, which is really kind of cool. Like, it's neat to see that. You know, like they were apparently hitting the streets of GDC, just asking everybody, inking tons of deals. Like,
isn't Nintendo doing that too, though?
To some extent, but I just haven't checked the eShop in a while. But maybe they've certainly a little more open to it than Microsoft has basically stated. So, which seems weird. Like, a part of it is just like how confusing, like weird it is to see that Microsoft clearly doesn't know what people are saying about them. Which is like, well, I don't know. Like, how do you miss that? Like, there's a pretty negative attitude towards Microsoft brewing over the past, like, few months, like, several months. Quite a while. I've heard a lot of snarkiness about Xbox Live in several corners. The sluggishness of the interface. Like, Phil Fish was talking about how expensive it was to patch Fez, and that was not, like, a small news story. I saw that around, you know?
Yep.
Like, Steam got a bunch of positive buzz out of that, because it's just like, oh, hey, yeah, you can patch stuff here. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just like, oh, okay. Like, there's been, like, they've kind of lost the hearts and minds of a lot of people really, really slowly, and somehow didn't notice it was happening. And then to kind of come out, like, you know, with this event and just kind of clearly not, like, they just didn't hear that, obviously. Just like, oh, well, huh. Like, do you have PR people that check the internet? Like, do you go on message boards ever? Like, I don't Reddit, have you heard of it? It's a pretty big website. Like, if you just look at the front, like, they even sort it for you. You can see what people are snarking about, and they're all snarking about your console. I don't know if you know, should I link that to, like, Major Nelson's Twitter and just be like, I don't know if you noticed this. People are really angry. I saw a picture that said, literally Hitler, and it was a picture of the Xbox One, and there was a red background. And I know it was a joke, but still, maybe you should know.
Yeah, Major Nelson's too busy doing blow off of a fucking Wiimote to notice.
Major Nelson was up on that event quite a bit. I don't know. Like, and he was also posting even more confusing non-statements on the blog. So, it's been weird. It's been a weird time. That is the one major conference I'm going to, apparently, so I'll get a first-hand look at their follow-up.
Okay, good.
Yeah. we'll see what goes down there. I'm also going to the EA one, apparently. So,
dude, I have like 3 emails. That's EA's just like, have you booked yet? Have you booked yet?
No, I got several too. Like my first one was like a month ago. I was just like, no, I and the email title is annoying because it's like, hey, are you going to check out EA's events at E3? And I was like, oh, what kind of events you got? And it is just a sign up for their press conference. And I'm just like, well, no, I can't make it to the press conference because that is on June 10th. I'm not going to be there yet.
Sure.
But what else you got going on? Like, I'll go to the party, or if you guys got some sort of like other thing or a demo or whatever. And it's just like, no, are you committing to going to this conference or not? And I was like, well, I can't, so I'll ignore this. Yeah. And then when the Microsoft thing, it's like, well, now I have 2, and one of them is one of the main 3 guys. I guess I'll change my flight and go there early. So now I'm going to that thing. But yeah, EA Ignite, dude. I'm going to see the new sports engine.
Are you going to go do Konami as well?
Oh, are they offering? Or yeah,
you'll have an email in there somewhere by Veronica.
The only thing I was seeing from Konami was like, check out our hot new mobile lineup, and I was kind of bummed out because I don't want to see that at all. Like, I don't care about that. Like, if it's like, hey, we got Kojima Metal Gear or something, I didn't get one for that though.
No, it's a tour of their booth, so basically playing whatever they're showing.
I don't know. I think I did reply to one of those emails that was from like a PR person or whatever. Like, yeah, they had a lineup of publishers they represented or something. And I said, hey, I'm interested in this one and this one. What about that? And I haven't heard back, so I don't know. One of them was also Square Enix, was another one that I got a notification for. But whatever. Behind the scenes, it's basically a bunch of emails, and some of them are interesting.
But most of them aren't, and it's just like, what do you mean I have 30 emails I haven't checked?
Right, and like, it's not like we're big fish or something. Like, this is boring to me, and I am like not a major player.
Isn't it weird that the one that bummed me out was that I got an invite to go see some Activision stuff, including the new Skylanders? I'm just like, no!
I would love to see those, but I can't.
Because the only reason I want to go see it is because maybe they'll like have a little thing where you get the crystal Skylanders or whatever.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't really know what I'm expected to get out of E3 this year. Like, I do want to talk to more people. Like, I do want to have some Twitter access and maybe like go to some meetups or something. I know some of our, like, the people we've talked to are going there, right? Like, is Ian Stalker going?
I think he might because he lives in that area.
Okay.
But like, I don't think anybody.
There was a handful of the indie devs we've talked to.
I don't think any of the Canadian devs are bothering.
Okay. That I guess that makes sense.
Which it makes sense, but that kind of sucks because that's a lot of them.
Yeah, but I guess there's a handful that might be there. I'm not really sure. But then also, like, Double Fine said they'd be there.
Double Fine's everywhere in California, though.
Right, and to be clear, they're not showing anything there. Seems to be the thing. They're just gonna hang out.
Yeah,
which is totally cool. Like, if I see any of those guys, I'll be like, "Oh, sweet." But I don't know. Like, Mega 64 is going, but just as dudes looking at stuff. So
they weren't hired this year to do any videos for it.
I don't think they were last year. They're GDC video people.
Oh, right.
Like, they usually do a video like at E3, like the Game Girls or whatever.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Go interview people or whatever, like hang out with booth babes, but whilst being booth babes.
I have a mission for you.
Okay.
And this is being said on air so people can hear it and know if you do it.
Oh no. Okay.
Talk to Anthony Birch, give him a card, and say we want him on the show sometime to talk indie games.
Okay, but doesn't he talk indie games? Doesn't it like fold in on itself?
Everything folds in on itself in this industry.
Okay. So like, hey, you talk to people who make games, and we're going to talk to the talkers on our new podcast. But yeah, I guess I can keep. I don't even really have a firm sense of what that dude looks like, but I'll keep an eye on it.
No, honestly, I would love to talk to that guy about some of his opinions and stuff, because I disagree with a lot of stuff he says, but he has arguments for it, which I love.
Yeah. I've been annoyed with some of his opinions too, but I continue to follow that guy.
And then you two would just swoon each other over Far Cry 2, so whatever.
Really like Far Cry 2, so good for him. He was actually the guy. I was listening to Podtoid, and it was him talking.
Which
about
one? Because he talked about it in every episode, basically.
Oh, I know. I'm saying, like, over the course of listening to it for several months, it's like, man, Far Cry 2 keeps coming up. Maybe I should play that again. And then I did, and I was like, oh, wait, this game's great. So, yeah.
It changed your perspective and your life.
Yeah, a little bit. And yeah, for sure. So, thanks, Anthony Birch. I didn't play Borderlands 2, so I don't know. Maybe it's great. Maybe Tiny Tina is hilarious. Maybe it's awesome. I just don't know. I haven't played it.
Hey Ash is okay?
I've only really listened to them doing some interview stuff. I've only watched one comedic thing, and I just thought it was annoying. But
which one do you remember?
It's about NBA Jam or something. It was like a baby is born.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, okay, like, all right, sure.
One of the newer ones is basically like just meta, where they do a thing on Borderlands 2.
Okay.
And it's basically just Anthony saying how, like, he thinks he's artistically, like, corrupt and invalid now because he blew his load basically on Borderlands 2. And that was the whole episode because he can't write Hey Ash anymore and be funny.
Okay.
So it's just like, oh man, this is rough.
So is that the last episode then? It's over? Weird.
I don't know. That would be a good way to go out. I don't think it is, though.
Okay. Speaking of things that... No, whatever. I just wanted to briefly, like... That would be a good way to go out. Man, Community Season 4 was really sucking, huh? It was just bad.
Oh, dude, I haven't watched it, remember?
Oh, okay. I got, like, halfway and stopped watching it. And I'm just, like... Now I'm just kind of really not happy with how that went. Just stop it. Just
hey, speaking of things going out...
Yeah.
Let's keep on this train of thought for a second.
Okay.
I found out some news today. So, like, Aaron and I have been going out for a long time. And then we broke up to seek different avenues or whatever, blah, blah, blah. We did some stuff. I don't think either of us were proud of what we did during that time.
Okay.
And the
guy... this podcast, it was so bad. Oh.
The guy she was seeing at that time is dead.
What?
Now. He died.
Wow. Okay.
And he is the second of her ex-boyfriends to die.
Wow.
I know, right?
Okay.
Is it wrong to feel a little bit happy that he's dead?
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, is it wrong to be a little worried that I might die? Or something weird. I mean, I am of the opinion, like, we are, like, humans are really, like, come on, we're selfish, like, fundamentally.
Of course we are. I will never tell you that I'm not selfish. Yeah,
like, I'm very, very selfish as well, because it's just the way the world works, son. Like, you're deluding yourself if you don't see it, you know? Like, that's kind of, I try not to be too, like, cynical about it, but it's just like, nah, selfishness is how deals get done. And
progress is made, like, you and I, we're selfish together, so we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
That's how progress is made.
Yeah, like, so for you and your own ends and your, like, ambitions and everything, like, it's just like, no, it totally 100% makes sense that you would maybe not prefer that be the one option that happened, but, in some way you don't want him in the picture.
You know,
maybe not literally, you know, like, not to the extreme. Like,
you know how she brought it up to me?
Okay.
Is, I've been saying for a long time, like, the person I was seeing during that period, she had cervical cancer, or maybe still does, and basically, like, she's just waiting to die, and, like, it's always been really bad when we were together and stuff like that. So I always say, like, I wonder if she's dead, but I mean that, like, sincerely, I do wonder, because I have no contact with, like, her family or her or anything.
Right, like, it's not like some snarky thing.
No, but at the same time, I don't care if she is.
Right.
So, but
well, like, she's not really within your circle right now, so...
Anymore.
Just an idle curiosity, right? Like, I'm trying to think of, like, a comparable thing. Like, you know, like, the only people I have, it's, like, a whole bunch of high school people. Like, it's just like, I wonder what happened to any of them. Like, I don't know. I currently have no idea. Some of them might not be alive, and I just don't know. Because it's not like you have some sort of magic update thing that's just like, if this funeral is happening, somehow you will be made aware of it. It's just like, no, I have no idea. And I'm not, like, constantly Googling everybody I ever knew to make sure they're still around. Like, I just don't know. So, yeah, there could be.
She was like, you know how you always said, or would say, you wonder if she was dead? And then I got super excited, apparently. I'm like, yeah? And she's like, okay, you got a little too excited there, but that guy, blah, blah, blah. Apparently he's dead. I was like, that's the best news I've heard all day.
You actually say that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, we're not having some secret conversation right now. We're just like,
no, you know what? I don't know how he died, and I asked her specifically, find out how he died, because I'm going to be talking about this on the podcast.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. So it's like a dark comedy starring us.
Only we're not British, so it's not charming. It's just kind of dark.
I guess.
Really
There's good American dark comedies. Like,
yeah, but they're not charming about it.
Not really. They're more kind of like, oh, it's kind of sad. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm laughing, but I also just, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking of the Coen Brothers specifically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Now,
I don't even know if some of those are meant to be funny, but I don't know.
What is your stance on exes dying? Are you pro or con?
I guess I'm con. Just because, like, at least I haven't had any, like, horrible breakup situations where I'd want any of those people. Like, they were just, you know, pretty amicable partings of ways, which is just like, yeah, no, I don't. At least my super small, like, that list is not very long. I don't want any ill will on any of those people. But generally speaking, like, stuff I've heard, maybe that's, like, I guess for a while there was quite a bit of emotional baggage, actually. So there could have been a moment where you asked me like a few months or a week or something after a thing. It would just be like, no, I don't know. But that's at a less than great point psychologically. So,
I'm going to go ahead
and say... Sorry, I went on too long.
I'm going to go ahead and say that the way her and I broke up was bad. So...
Okay. So does that make you pro or what? No.
Hold on, sorry. We're just getting some choppiness.
Also, you're choppy. Yeah, okay. I was like, wait, is Paul being really, you know, trying to draw out more and more weird details from me, or is it just bad internet?
No, I'm just restarting the thing here.
Oh, okay. Again, Skype updated, so it's better than ever. Thanks, Microsoft. Maybe it's the Xbox One patch for the E3 demo.
Sure.
So they can show it off. It's probably what... Yep. Putting the pieces together.
I think it's calmed down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Anyways, yeah, the way her and I, like, the other ex, not Aaron, broke up was really bad. And it's probably the most cowardly way I've ever done it. But I just couldn't handle it anymore. Okay, so it was around when PAX was happening, and she was accusing me of, like, fooling around with one of my friends. And it's just like, well, that's not happening. And then it almost did, but then I was just like, no, this is the wrong way to do it. So instead, I went to Seattle for PAX and just stopped talking to her and changed my phone number.
Oh, man. So there's, like, an angry person out there somewhere. Maybe.
Or she might be dead.
Or who knows, I guess. But... that's all right. I don't, like, that's the thing. I don't know if I have anyone on like my list of people I've ever known that I would be like, oh, that's in the enemies file or something. Like, I just don't think anyone's gotten to that point. But that's a bit of a bid for a potential enemy.
That was a shitty way to do it for sure. Like, just literally leaving the country for a week.
Yeah,
and then coming back and just not calling or texting them again, but changing your phone completely with phone number.
Yeah.
And cheating on them. But that happened before. Anyways.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm a terrible person, but she's going to die of cancer? So, it works out in the end. I guess what I'm saying.
It's like that Seinfeld episode. Yeah. There's one where girlfriend has cancer, and George is like, doesn't know how to deal with it, so he kind of just leaves.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of weird, but okay.
That was the worst, though, for sure. Like, in retrospect,
it was a coma. Either way.
I actually texted her on Facebook after that, like, a couple months later, and I was just like, hey, so, sorry. That was basically it. But, I don't know. Again, might be dead. She's over with. And now...
yeah.
everything's good again.
Cool.
Everything works out in the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Except for Xbox One, maybe.
Except maybe that.
It might get worse.
It could get worse, but that would be hard. But we'll see. Yeah. It's an interesting, weird place. Like this is the limbo between knowing more stuff. So like this whole period of time will be forgotten like a couple years from now. It'll be like, remember that weird time between when the thing was announced and then clarifications were made? No one remembers that. So
yeah, because I'm sure there's stuff like when the Dreamcast and PS2 and shit were out that
it's like, so it's online, but what does that mean? Or
we
like,
all forgot about. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just like, so is Tony Hawk 3 going to have downloadable maps? Like, what was the thing? And so like, no one cares now. Like, all of this is bad. Actually, that was part of the insight in watching like a 9-year-old E3 coverage thing. Like, it was just like, wow, all of these games, like, I own some of them. You can literally not get rid of them on Kijiji. Like, they're garbage now. They're sub-garbage. Like, these games are worthless.
And people at the time were like, oh, shit, new hotness.
Yeah. Trailers, montages, like dudes talking up huge stuff, like Mortal Kombat Deception. That was going to be huge.
My god. Yeah.
Like stuff like that, where it's just like giant booths, Street Racing Syndicate, dancers, and like a giant booth and like 8 demo stations, and it's just like, all of this is garbage now. Like this is like, buy 10 for $1 each at the cash converters, like just nothing. So yeah, like time destroys video games, it seems. Like very, very few, like 1% appreciate in value and become classics, but a lot of trash happens.
Metal Gear
like,
Solid.
Yeah, maybe. Sure. But
well, it got remade, so it was classic enough that people were like, this will probably sell again.
Right. Like, yeah, there's a small group that is true of. And then just to see like a dude walk out and talk up how awesome the new sports engine is for the new sports games. Like, it's just like, these sports games will be garbage in 3 years.
In one.
Yeah.
With the new
year after they are no longer the current list of names, no one will care about this game. Like, it's just, I don't know. That is just the constant curse of sports games. Like, it does not matter how hard you work on it. Garbage. So, yeah. Except maybe ESPN 2K5. But I haven't played it in a long time either. So
I used to like the NHL games for a while there.
Yeah, or like I remember getting way into Major League Baseball, like Ken Griffey on the SNES. I thought that was a great game.
Sure.
Again,
what about Diabolical Pitch?
I haven't played that.
Okay.
Sounds much more dramatic than your average baseball game.
Are you watching hockey lately at all?
No, I've been seeing tweets like crazy about Chicago versus Detroit, I'm assuming.
Tonight, yeah.
Yeah. Is it the Stanley Cup final or something? Like, what's going on?
No, it's a round 2 final.
Round 2, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just not invested in any sport, I don't think. Like, that's safe to say.
Yeah. I'm getting told that the Bruins are going to win. I don't know if that's for sure. However, I will say I think it'll be maybe, depending how it goes with the Sharks, it might be LA versus the Bruins. Mm-hmm. And I never thought I would ever say that LA has made it this far. But
LA's made it that far before.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. They're not great. So the fact that they're doing, like, they're on top of their game sort of lately, so.
Yeah, like it's, I guess because of Twitter, like I'm definitely reminded of some of these social things that are outside of my daily activities. Like, it's just like, oh, right, hockey, that's a thing. Like, Will Wheaton's tweeting about LA Kings and Rich Gallup's talking about Boston. You know, like, that's how I know this is going on. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to like, oh, right, and then tune in. Like, it's, no.
Now, what if Calgary was playing? Would it be different?
There was that one year where
2004.
Yeah, where we almost got there and there was flags everywhere and all that nonsense.
Sure.
I definitely got caught up in like the city's attitude. Like, specifically one memory I have, which I've probably said before. I was walking down the street to a friend's house and then had to stop because I thought I heard something and then realized it was like 40 cars with 40 flags flapping in the wind. And it was just like, whoa. A lot of people are watching hockey, apparently. Like, weird. Like, sure. It was like, you know, that kind of solidarity thing happened, and that was kind of neat. But then here we are, like 8 years later, and I'm moving, and I have a Flame flag, and I'm like, oh, I think this is garbage now. You know, like I don't.
Sure.
Like I am easily classify me a fair weather fan. Like, yeah, I've been to maybe 3 games in my life. So yeah, local hockey too. Like it's, I don't really.
What was the website like during that time?
Couple, but
the Red Mile was a thing, which is for anybody that doesn't know Calgary, or like if you know Calgary, it'll make more sense. 17th Avenue, downtown. Well, just off of downtown, really.
It was like a strip of pubs and stuff, right?
Yeah, it would just be full of people wearing jerseys and just like drinking, having fun, and general like Sodom debauchery sort of stuff going on.
Right.
And there was a website called like flamesgirls.com or something, and it was basically where people would post pictures from their phones of all the girls taking their tops off.
Like flashing.
Yeah, flashing and doing shit like that. Those were good days, man.
That was yes. Oh, and there was like bad parodies of 50 Cent songs.
You can find me in the Dome.
Yeah, that was on local radio. I don't know who it was or anything. I'm sure the internet can tell.
What was it? It was like, you could find me in the Dome hanging with Jerome.
Yeah, my sister thought that was hilarious and was like singing it and playing it and stuff. I was just like, I'm all right. This is a thing that's going on. Like, yeah, local culture, I guess.
I don't know. That was quite the time, but I don't know. I do miss the days of
it was
weird
an exciting
debauchery.
Yeah, like just downtown is a crazy party, and we weren't even close to downtown, but we could hear like honking and craziness whenever a game was won. Like you'd just be like out in the suburbs, and then just be like sitting playing SNES or something, and then hear like this loud rumbling outside, and you're just like, oh, I guess we won? I think that's what that means? Like, all right. Like, this is pre-Twitter, so that was my update.
Yeah. I guess just as a side note, that Flames Girls or Girls of the Flames or Red Mile Girls or whatever it was called was actually taken down. Because, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of gross to...
privacy stuff, or
it's kind of gross to post that stuff, because like a lot of the people going to it, these like were girls that you would see at school or like at the mall or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
They just had a stupid night of drinking with their dumbass hockey boyfriends or something.
Right.
And it's just like, you don't want to ruin their lives over it.
Right. That was supposed to be a private moment between us. Come on, man.
Between the like couple thousand people there and her giant titties.
Yeah, but like for 1 second, it was supposed to be exciting. Not
right.
on the internet. Come on.
Right.
That was not the deal.
And also, as a side note for anybody that doesn't know what happened there, basically Flames went to the Stanley Cup playoffs against Tampa Bay Lightning, and in the last game, they lost by 1 point.
Yeah. And I seem to remember it was like game 6, there was like an almost goal that became like a bit of a, like, come on, that was in. Like,
yeah, it's get across the line.
Yeah, but like in midair or something. So, do you count that? I don't know. Like, it was like, yeah, there was a really close call that was sort of controversial because it would have meant the cup for us, and we have not won one since 1989?
85 or 6, I think.
No, I think it was the late. I thought it was later.
It was late 80s?
Yeah.
I can't remember. That's when Calgary had a decent lineup, though, and they played good. After that, everything just kind of went to shit.
And I was a baby.
We got rid of our main guys. You knew that, right?
Like recently, or what?
Yeah, Jerome's gone.
Jerome is gone.
He's playing for Pittsburgh. Kiprusoff hasn't been re-signed and probably won't be. And they got a bunch of like kids from the next league down or whatever to try them out and see how they're going to do. They were going for a first-round draft pick, basically. They were throwing all their shit in the bucket saying, we're going to get rid of these guys so we get first pick.
Yeah.
So we'll see how their bluff goes, their hand goes.
Yeah. And wasn't it like a year or two later, Edmonton had a good run? Like they were in the final?
It was the year after they lost.
Yeah.
And just like, I think, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe even last year, where Vancouver lost and there was that riot.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just trying to like being self-conscious. Does this sound like pretty in-depth hockey talk to somebody who has even less investment in hockey? Like, it's like, oh, those Canadians, man, they're always talking about hockey. It's just like, I don't try to, but this is just like the hockey talk I've absorbed over just living here.
I know, isn't that weird that this is just stuff that's like when you're talking to people at work or just like talking to people anywhere.
Yeah.
It just comes up and you know enough that you can have a conversation.
Yeah, this is just common knowledge here. Like, this is not like nuanced or subtle. Like, this is the most basic observations about that playoff series that I have, and it's just like, well, to somebody like they don't hear about hockey ever. Like this, like maybe this sounds like, you know, soccer hooligans talking to somebody, you know, like how that would sound to me. We're just like, yeah, sure. Manchester United. What? I don't know what that is.
Sure.
Probably like, did Beckham play for that? I don't.
Do you want to make some predictions about who's going to win the cup?
Who's even in the final? Like, with Chicago, apparently.
The next round is Bruins and Pittsburgh, and we have to find out still between Chicago and Detroit and LA and the Sharks. They're both tied at 3.
LA and the Sharks. So.
So who's going to win between LA and the Sharks?
I'm going to say because of all that. I don't know. I was about to say just like, well, Will Wheaton, so the Kings, but that's dumb. So I'm going to hope the Sharks win because as far as I know, their stadium is called the Shark Tank, and that goofiness will make their players have a better attitude about things, and they will win. Okay,
I'm going to say just based on how they're playing, LA maybe.
Okay.
So I'm going to go the opposite there. Who do you think between Detroit and Blackhawks, which we'll know like right away? Tonight, probably after we're done recording.
Well, I don't like that the Detroit has won so many cups over the years.
Sure.
It's a weird name, and also ICP and stuff. So I'm going to say that maybe Chicago Blackhawks should win because Belfour played for them once.
Okay.
And isn't that a thing?
Sure. I'm going to say
20 years ago.
I don't particularly like either team.
Okay.
But I kind of resent Detroit because they've always had the means to. They've always basically had good players and have had the money to just keep their team solid. So like
wins every year, kind of.
No, it's just kind of the thing where it's like, you know, you and I have been podcasting for a while, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, since we've been doing this together, we know how each other works and blah blah blah. They've had the money to basically just do whatever, and they've been like.
Oh, okay. So it's just like, if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing, and they're just
sort of. They have really good players and stuff like that. I mean, I just don't like the Blackhawks. Period. I never have. I don't know why.
Okay.
So controversial. I'm gonna go with the Blackhawks.
Okay, so sweet. So we agree on that one for completely different reasons. Yours probably more educated than mine. But whatever. Okay.
No, it's not.
Detroit is lame. Chicago, because 20 years ago I knew a name of one of their goalies because he was really good.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to say between Pittsburgh and Boston, I'm going to say Boston.
I'm also going to say Boston because Rich Gallup is cool, and he has a great eyebrow. So
okay,
his team should win.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, I mean, fuck the Penguins, just period.
I guess, I mean...
Crosby, yo, fuck him. That guy's made out of glass.
Pittsburgh was Gotham City. So that's pretty cool. So maybe Pittsburgh should win.
I don't know, man. Crosby is made of glass. Every time he gets touched, he's out for some reason. Fuck them. Fucking Boston.
Okay, Boston.
Okay.
That's our hockey section of the podcast. I do want to ask, though, this discussion has reminded me, I have like 2 giant binders full of hockey cards. What do I do with those?
How old and rare are they?
Like 20 years, and I have no idea.
Not at all, probably.
Maybe. I just don't know. Like, should I get them appraised at a sports store or something, or will they rip me off?
They belong in a museum.
Like, should I just spend a weekend Googling all of them someday or something, or what?
I don't know, like, an antique guy here.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
I'm just worried if I bring it into one of those like professional card stores in the mall or something, they'll just be like obviously trying to fleece me.
No, you don't want to go to like a card store in the mall.
Yeah.
If anything, you'll want to go to like those weird antiquity stores or whatever in the malls.
Okay.
That like they sell cards and other weird stuff like leg lamps and stuff. Maybe there.
And they won't like, totally just be jerks about it. Like it's just like we'll give you like they're secretly giving me 10% of what it's actually worth or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Because on some level, like any money is better than having 2 giant binders taking up space. But at the other time, like for all I know, I have a gold mine and I just didn't know it. Like I don't know.
Well, you're gonna be in California.
Yeah.
So you should probably hit up who Barry Weiss uses in Storage Wars and say, I got these in a storage, paid $100 for them. What are they worth?
Yeah.
And then it'll cut to a commercial after you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why everything has to go back to Storage Wars, but it does.
I need footage of me like finding my binders and be like, whoa, and then cut. And
we
then
should do
next
that.
shot, I'm in California. The guy. There you go. TV magic. Our own. That's our Storage Wars fan fiction. That's our tribute.
Fan fiction. We gotta make this real, son.
Yeah.
I got by that GoPro so we can do that. Oh man, the stupid things we could do.
Yeah. And although that's actually weirdly, you brought up the GoPro thing. Another like revelation I got from watching that 9-year-old GameSpot documentary. Some of that footage is really bad. So if that is like acceptable, I could wear a GoPro. It would look just as good as that.
Sure.
So it's just shaky footage of like walking around the show floor, and it's like, why would you have this? But it's like if we speed it up and put music under it, it sort of works, right?
I gotta ask you about the new Daft Punk album because, I mean, I guess for anybody that might not know, every Sunday night, Eno and I do a weird live show sort of thing where we talk about news and random stuff.
Is it archived? Like, is it a podcast effectively too?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I thought, wow, Paul just has a podcast for every friend. It's a new one of the week.
He has them recorded. We just don't know what we're gonna do with them yet.
Okay.
If we're gonna put them up or not.
Podsicle?
Twisted Podsicle. Yeah, that's the name. At 9 p.m. our time, 11 p.m. Eastern it starts.
On what day?
On Sunday nights.
Okay.
But we were talking, and he's a huge Daft Punk fan, which I didn't even know until last night.
Well,
he doesn't like the new album very much.
Okay.
So I need to know your opinion.
What were his criteria, though?
He said it doesn't sound like old Daft Punk. They use Pharrell too much, and the they feature too many collaborations on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he just doesn't like the weird shit they're doing with it. It doesn't sound like the fun old Daft Punk. He doesn't like that it's like a concept album or something. He just likes
that's the thing. Like, upon first listening to it, I was like, wow, because I kind of was like, all right, guys, it's time to party. New Daft Punk album, hit play. And then it was just me and Brittany sitting on the couch just kind of being like, huh, all right. Because there's, like, no danciness to some of it. Like, it's a lot more lyrics, like, old guy talking. Like, that's a little dismissive. He's a, like, pioneering musician guy, but whatever, doesn't matter. Like, listening to it just, like, cold like that, it was like, wow, all right, this is kind of boring. And I listened to it again the next day with headphones while loading, or installing Metro or something. So I was just kind of distracted on the computer. Point is, like, third or fourth time listening to it, I thought it was really great. But that's because I was, like, no longer in that, like, let's dance, let's party kind of expectations. It was just like, all right, what is this? And I was actually listening to the songs and the lyrics and stuff. I listened to it, like, twice today. I really like it. But yeah, it is them consciously not making an old Daft Punk album, kind of.
And so that was his problem. And then I told him, just on assumptions from what I heard from you on Twitter randomly and stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me if this was correct, because I told him this, I knew. But I was like, he didn't like it at first, but after, a week, he started to really enjoy it.
Me, you're saying?
You, yeah.
Yeah, that's totally accurate. Like,
Okay.
that week, I was, like, kind of bummed out and just listening to other stuff, and then when I revisited it, just quietly listening to it, it was like, actually, this is really, like, it's good in ways that most Daft Punk albums aren't, because it's, like, tickling other parts of my brain than usual. So it's just like, oh, weird, now I'm actually, like, thinking about these songs and some of these ideas they're presenting, and, like, stuff about, like, kind of tying into stuff we always talk about, like nostalgia and whatever. Like, this is Daft Punk paying tribute to a bunch of, like, artists and stuff that were very influential on them.
Sure.
Or, like, inspirational, which has kind of been a thing they do, like, they've done since their very first album. There's that song Teachers, where they just kind of list a bunch of people they think are cool, but that is, like, one track out of, like, 14 or whatever, whereas this is, like, this whole album is that idea. So it's not, like, completely out of left field. It's just really, really not like their previous stuff or, like, Alive 2007 or anything. Like, this is, like, them changing it up quite a bit. Like, actually, that movie they did, like, Electroma, this fits better with that. Like, some of the songs, like, specifically, I think it's Within, it's just, like, vocoder robot asking, like, please tell me who I am. It's just this weird identity crisis robot thing. It's just, like, this song is perfect if you look at it as, like, an Electroma companion piece or something. Because it's, like, weirdly melancholy and sad, but also it's a robot. Like, it's just weird. Okay. But I kind of really dug it in a way. Like, Like, so I will say I really, really like it, but not like I like Discovery or something. Like, I would not play this at a party ever. Like, this is a much more quiet, intimate, if you want to use that word, album. So
sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. Like, I am still anticipating, like, you know, if they do a tour or something, if they make a live version of this, they're going to have to pump up the fun to have a show, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. So we could get some really cool remixes of these tracks that make them more party. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird album, but I do really like it. Have you listened to it, or I
haven't, no.
Okay.
But and I told him that, and he said, "Okay, I'm gonna listen to it more, and then I'll get back to you."
Yeah, as like a, you know, it's number one in the charts right now and everything. Like, it's kind of a weird, like, looking at it as like, oh, this is a new pop album. Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, I do really like going to restaurants and things and then just hearing Get Lucky playing, because it's just like, Daft Punk is on the radio right now.
Yeah, I've heard that song quite a few times. I like it.
It's fun. Yeah, like. I've never really listened to any RD or anything, so I don't have much history with Pharrell, so if you're not a fan, maybe that would rub you the wrong way or something. I don't know. He's just a guy singing in that before the robots sing, so it doesn't really bother me.
I still want to hear Anna Managuchi's new album. I still haven't listened to it.
John said it was pretty good, but he just briefly ran over it before we started talking about Daft Punk, so I don't know. They're fine. I've just never been super keen about those guys.
Chiptune?
Yeah, well, no, specifically Anna Managuchi. Like, it's like they're like the big, like, well-known chiptune dudes, sort of. And I don't know why. Like, I saw them live not knowing who they were. Like, it was just like, all right, here's some guys. And the main thing I remember from that entire concert was at one point on the video screen, they had, what is that game I play that makes music tracks into a puzzle type game? Why am I doing this?
I have no idea.
Audio Surf.
Oh, okay.
Audio Surf footage on the screen. I was like, I like that game, and that's all I remember. I don't know. Like, yeah, like they're okay, I guess, but I mainly like that Scott Pilgrim soundtrack from anything I've heard of theirs.
Scott Pilgrim soundtrack is really good.
What's their second album? It's like a city metro. I don't know. Whatever.
What's the one with Helix Nebula on it?
I don't know.
Is that their second album?
Maybe. I got that like 8-Bit People's like first thing, and then I got the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack. But Dawn Metropolis, is that a thing? What is that? Is that an album? My brain's just like fishing through
Dawn Metropolis.
Something like, I don't know if that's an album. I don't know.
I think that's their only real album, right? Because they have like EPs as well, and singles.
I know they toured with Infinity Shred, which used to be called Starscream, and I like those guys quite a bit.
Sure.
mainly because their music just sounds like rockets taking off to me. So it's just like, cool, man. Yeah. It's like instrumentals, awesome. But
can I quickly talk about a movie I watched last night?
yes, okay.
I watched a movie called Archie's Final Project, or My Suicide. It has 2 titles, so I think if you want to look it up on IMDb, you have to look up My Suicide. I'm not sure. Anyways, best way to describe it, or I guess I should just give you a synopsis, I guess, of what's going on. A kid says that for his final project or whatever in his media class, like his filmmaking class, he's going to kill himself on camera.
Yeah, okay.
And it just deals with like teen angst and like basically suicidal tendencies when you're a kid and just like problems and blah blah blah, but it's done in a dark comedy way, sort of, whereas like the kid is just kind of, he's obviously like an autistic kid of some sort because he makes reference to movies a lot, to the point where like to other people he doesn't open up to people. And there's a lot of like weird referential stuff where like it'll just be him in front of a camera recreating dialogue from some classic scenes from like Apocalypse Now and The Matrix and just shit like that.
Okay.
And that's kind of annoying. And there's some weird cuts and edits for, I would say, I'm just looking it up right now to see how long it is. It's 107 minutes. So out of that 107 minutes, I would say the first 40 minutes is just kind of like a shitty college video student's art thing.
Okay.
But after that, it's kind of okay, where it just goes into this weird direction where it's like he starts talking to other people and finding out like he's not alone with these thoughts and stuff, and some other people are way more messed up than he is. And I don't know. It's just one of these movies that I randomly thought sounded neat when I read it on Netflix there, so I decided to give it a go. And I was a little put off by the first 10 minutes at least, but I decided to stick with it. It kind of paid off. The one main love interest girl, Brooke Nevin, is super hot, and I don't know if that's legal to say. I'm looking her up right now to see how old she is. She's old enough, so that's okay.
Okay, good.
Okay. We don't want another...
yeah, I know. Chloe Moretz issue.
Chloe Moretz issue. We don't want her on another splash image for the podcast. Too soon, bro. Too soon. But, like... And she's not a very good actress, but she's okay. The weird thing about this is that David Carradine is in it as like this death poet.
When did this come out?
It came out in 2009.
Okay.
And it's weird because he's this death poet in it named Vargas, and like the 2 main characters kind of idolize him and like repeat a lot of his lines and stuff about death and love. And I always, like, all the parts like that I found really funny because he killed himself by asphyxiating himself. So, I don't know. I don't know. It had this whole weird meta layer that you wouldn't get if you watched it when it came out back, like, 4 years ago. But still, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I just thought it was an interesting little watch. It's a little bit long, on the long side, maybe at 107 minutes, because I feel like it could have been done in the 90.
Right.
At least. It probably could have been done in 60, if we're going to be completely fair about it, because there's a lot of filler and weird stuff. But then at the same time, the stuff I kind of hated about it, I kind of loved about it as, like, an art school person, where it's just, like, there's a lot of weird cuts and edits, and just, like, this would have taken somebody a long, long time with like Final Cut Pro or something to do. And there's something kind of neat about that, but then at the same time you don't want to watch it as a like movie that you just want to relax to.
Right.
Where it has that weird, like when I say art house, I don't mean art house in the way that like it's trying specifically to talk about something serious and like do it in this weird way. But more is just like, it looks like somebody made a collage into a movie in some parts.
Okay.
So there's a kind of like double-edged sword there where it's neat looking and like You got to appreciate
Michel Gondry type, like arts and craftsy.
Yeah, sure. In some parts, like you got to appreciate the work people did to put in to do that. But then at the same time, it's like I don't want to watch half an hour of this.
Right. So it's like good job, but maybe test audiences would have trimmed this out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It just seems like a movie that if you're
doesn't necessarily respect your time.
It doesn't necessarily respect your time, but it doesn't really like just throw it away either. There is something to be said about the end little bit. I mean, I could go into spoiler territory, but if nobody has seen it, it wouldn't matter. So it's like whatever, right? Yeah. Basically, like somebody does kill themselves, and it's not who you think it would be. And it turns this movie into this whole other side perspective where it's like, this is no longer just kind of like a cry for attention joke sort of thing by this kid, but like something that he's trying to fight with another person that he's really into. Because like she's going all crazy now too. And like people around are just going nuts because this is like all his stuff from the beginning where it's like, I'm going to kill myself on film, and he's interviewing people, but what they think about suicide and stuff has kind of caused this catastrophic, like, domino effect where a bunch of people in his life are, like, I don't know, just doing some nasty shit. I don't know. It's kind of okay, I guess is the best way to put it, but, like, if you have time, if you have 107 minutes and Netflix, you could watch it, but if you don't, I wouldn't seek it out, I guess.
Okay.
That's where I'm going with that.
Right. I've only really seen, like, kind of bigger stuff lately, like, Fast and Furious 6.
Okay, yeah, I want to know about it.
I'm trying to think, like, it was fine. I don't know. I'm not going to get too excited about it. It's a Fast and Furious movie.
Michelle Rodriguez?
She's there. She's back. They explain why.
Can you explain to me why?
Dude, it was amnesia coma. She was
amazing.
Totally,
okay.
Yeah, she was still alive. She just didn't remember anything. So great. She was thrown by that explosion, not blown up by it. So, yep.
And how's The Rock?
The Rock's pretty good.
Is he glistening?
They actually make a bunch of jokes about that. There are a bunch of baby oil jokes in the movie. It's just like, why am I suddenly smelling baby oil? Turn around, it's The Rock. So,
you remember for a while there where Snakes on a Plane was a thing, and the internet's like drew that stupid picture of Samuel L. Jackson saying, "Get these motherfucking snakes off my motherfucking plane" or something.
Yes.
And then that became part of the movie. Fast and Furious is the new version of that, where it's like we read Reddit comments and we incorporate it somehow.
Yeah. Like we somehow are just throwing together this big, ridiculous referential movie, but it's fine because we're in on the joke or something, you mean? Or
like they're getting their funny material
They don't
from
treat
it?
themselves very seriously. Yeah, the funny material kind of is courtesy of Tyrese a lot, which led me to think, like, it's kind of weird. None of these, like, for most of the cast, none of these people could last as movie stars on their own. You know? Like, Tyrese, who cares? Ludacris, Paul Walker, Vin Diesel even. Like, they're done. They're washed up. But if they team up, now you got something. So they're kind of slaves to this franchise forever. There's already a 7th one coming out. Like, they tease it very
damn well right there better be.
Yeah, and it made like $300 million worldwide, like in one weekend or whatever. And you know, it's totally fun and entertaining and everything. It's just like, it's at some point it's just like, well, okay, like that was a reliable piece of entertainment that had cars and action and ridiculous stuff periodically. Like I was gonna say, like my favorite scene with The Rock was probably in the first like 10 minutes.
Great.
But he also has like this weird recurring thing where he'll just jump onto something that's really dangerous, but not care. So it's kind of makes it funny. Like it's just like, there's an F1 car like driving under this bridge. Jump, and you're just like, you shouldn't have done that. But he gets on the car, gets thrown immediately, but he's fine because action movie. And also Reddit like broke down exactly how absurd it was. There's an infinite runway.
Amazing.
At the end of the movie. Like all the like trailers and stuff have the scene with the plane. Like you see like 5 seconds of like a 15-minute thing. That plane is like flying down that runway for way too long. And I wasn't trying to think about it. Like I had seen a tweet that was like, that was a ridiculous thing prior to seeing the movie, but like I can't imagine anyone watching that entire sequence without at some point being like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like this is ridiculous. Like at some point airplanes have to take off. Like you can't just keep doing that forever. It's a 25-mile runway according to the math Reddit broke down based on like speeds they're estimating and stuff. The longest runway in the world is like 3 miles.
Yeah.
3.5 maybe.
Well, 3 miles is huge too.
3 miles is really long, and this blows that away. It's just, I don't know, like, who cares, like, physics, breaking it and stuff. I will say, maybe I enjoyed Fast 5 more, because the finale stunt I just thought was stupider, and I had more fun with it.
With the vault?
Yeah, the vault attached to 2 cars, just, like, wrecking everything.
Just like a giant ball and chain or something.
Yeah, like, at its best, those movies remind me of, like, Burnout. And I just want to see Burnout-level dumb stuff happen on a big screen with like tons of effects and everything. This was not as much that. It was like a James Bond movie or like that bit in Uncharted 3 or something. Like the airplane fight is just like, yeah, I've seen me an airplane fight before. I've never seen a vault attached to 2 cars just as a wrecking ball.
Just destroying things, yeah.
With no regard for actual weight and velocities or anything. Like just like, who cares? What's more fun? So yeah, it was fine though.
I want to run down some stuff.
Okay.
Vin Diesel, how he do? He's still Dom?
He's still Dom. He does one. There's one scene with Dom that is more because of the stunt / dumb thing that happens that I thought was really great. But sure, fine. Yeah, Vin Diesel has a good moment.
Paul Walker?
Maybe a little underutilized in this one. He has a family now. He still doesn't. There's a bit where he goes to prison, and there's a bit like a minor prison movie type segment, but not enough. Not enough Paul Walker.
Okay, we obviously know how The Rock is. Amazing.
Rock's pretty good.
He's rock solid.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Use that wordplay. That works.
How about Jordana Brewster? Does she still have the unibrow?
I honestly left that movie kind of being like, wait, who was she? So I don't think she's in it very much. But
okay.
I did not notice unibrow business.
She's just barefoot and pregnant. Like, wasn't she pregnant in the last one?
Is that who she is?
Yeah, Mia. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's basically literally left at home with, like, babies. And, yeah, she's left at home.
That's where she belongs. What about Michelle Rodriguez?
She's in it a lot. Okay, that's actually a thing. At some point in the movie, she fights, like, Gina Carano or whatever, like the girl from the Haywire. And having seen Haywire, it was one of those things where it's just like, I know from just real-world knowledge, there's no way in hell Michelle Rodriguez would win this fight. She would be dead in, like, 5 seconds. Her neck would be broken, end of the movie, partway through the movie. But it's a movie, so you kind of have to play it out. Kind of like how John Cusack wins a bunch of fights in, what is that movie? Where he's an assassin.
Gross Point Blank or whatever?
Yeah, Gross Point. It's like, no, John Cusack would have died like 4 times by now. It was one of those where it's just like, this makes no sense. Like, if this person wasn't a star, they would have lost, which kind of ruined it for me. But whatever.
Also, Michelle Rodriguez was the helicopter pilot in Avatar.
Yeah.
So she loses all respect. Mm-hmm. All of it. Unless she stole the helicopter, which she kind of did, because she was helping the resistance after.
Yeah. No,
she drew a band of blue across her eyes because why not?
She's been typecast for like ever, but she kind of embraced it. So.
Well, she's what's her name?
Vasquez.
She's Vasquez.
Vasquez, but in like 30 movies. So
and yeah. Tyrese is great.
Tyrese is reliable comic relief in that movie, which is weird. Like he has some pretty funny jokes. I will like just off the top. There's a bit with a vending machine I thought was pretty funny. It was okay.
What about Han? Since he's still not dead.
They actually finally have some story acknowledgement of the Tokyo business. So watch the movie, I guess, if you're actually invested in this story.
Is this like a spoiler thing?
I guess, but not really. Like, I mean, in the last one, they acknowledged, like, I should go to Tokyo someday. They do that again. So, they're still aware that has to happen.
But it's still, like, Tokyo Drift is still the end of the line for the series.
Right, yeah, Tokyo Drift is still the movie that, like, is basically concurrent with some of these now. It's weird.
Okay, so in this movie, he actually leaves to go to Tokyo.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So we're catching up, and
Okay.
next movie could conceivably be the post.
Well, conceivably, couldn't he have left for Tokyo in the first little bit of this movie, and then that stuff happened, and then the rest of this movie took place?
No, because he dies.
No, I know. Like, does he go to Tokyo at the end of this new movie?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like, whoa.
Okay, so they're not, like, folding on top of each other, then?
I guess just maybe see it and stay, like, yeah. There's explicit acknowledgement of events in Tokyo Drift.
Is it just like, well, I'm gonna go to Tokyo now.
Yeah, it's like the
Credits.
skin where it's like
Fade to black.
Theater, and you're just like, oh shit.
And everybody's like, no, it's gonna go so bad for you.
Yeah. I'm gonna go drift racing in Tokyo. What's the worst that could happen? I think yes. Like, no,
I sure hope I don't get shot by the Drift King. Like, he says something very specific about.
No, there's acknowledgement though. If you're actually following the continuity, like I'm sure there's a few moments in this movie that made Sean really excited or something. For example, like he's the only person I know who's legitimately like, I'm gonna marathon these movies. So if you're that guy, 6 is probably pretty great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fine. It was a totally fun car action movie. I don't own any of them and never will, but I will continue to go see them when they happen because they're an enjoyable night out. They're fine. Less so for Oz, the Great and Powerful. I'm just gonna
you went and saw that?
quickly acknowledge a few other movies I saw. Yeah. I did go see it in the cheap theater. I enjoy James Franco on occasion. I was told he does some fun stuff in here.
Okay.
And that was sort of the case. And, Sam Raimi and whatever, there's some very Sam Raimi moments, like, crammed in there. You can kind of, like, notice when they happen.
Like the shots or something?
Yeah, like, just like, oh, this is, like, almost horror movie type stuff happening right now. So this is clearly, him cutting loose a bit. Like, witch business, like, having fun with the Wicked Witch transformations and whatever. But my only thing was, it was just kind of boring. Like, there were parts of it where it's just like, I wish this was faster or something. Like, this is just kind of...
I wish this was faster and furiouser.
Yeah, if it was only faster and more furious, maybe it would be a more enjoyable movie. Because that's what I go for.
Yeah.
There was a couple callback type things, like, with the, how the Wizard of Oz isn't exactly a powerful wizard in the conventional sense. Like the illusion thing, they do some cool stuff with magic tricks as wizardry. Okay. And they use wizard like a lot in that movie. So
the word
wizard.
I hate that word
dozens and dozens of times. So maybe don't see it then, for if that's a thing to you. Okay. I would say the best movie I've seen in the theater in the past couple weeks has probably been Mud. I quite liked it. It was Matthew McConaughey as like this drifter, mysterious guy that 2 kids find and then decide to help instead of, just ignore him. And turns out he has like this weird kind of crime story thing going on with him. And I don't know, like at its best, the kid stuff kind of reminded me of like Stand By Me or like, I'm trying to think of I was going to say the Goonies, but that's not right at all. But there's a certain amount of like kids adventuring and exploring stuff that felt kind of weirdly authentic. Like this could happen. And also these kids are having a way more exciting childhood than I ever did.
So like The Sandlot.
Maybe. I don't know. That sounds like it's about baseball though.
It is.
But
so you're saying Mud with Matthew McConaughey is about baseball and it's a lot like The Sandlot.
The first part of that is not true. For all I know, maybe it's a little bit like The Sandlot, but I don't think so at all. All I know is good use of kids in a movie. One of them was from Tree of Life, and he does a great job here too. And it's the director of a movie I liked called Take Shelter, which starred Michael Shannon, and it was kind of a look at mental illness and whatever. That was a good movie, and this is another good movie. And Matthew McConaughey actually continues his streak of doing really cool stuff. Like, I don't know if you saw Killer Joe last year. Like, he's just been doing really interesting, weird, small projects that I've been like, oh, like, and like his interviews and stuff have been like, yeah, I wasn't challenging myself for a long time, but then I decided, take a pay cut and start doing more interesting scripts or whatever, and it is paying off in a way.
I almost try to avoid anything that he's in.
Yeah, he's really turning around in like the last 2 years. Like, it is. I was ignoring him for like a long time too. It's like, I'm not going to go see Fool's Gold. What are you talking about? Or
well, I mean,
Dave, like, all of these look terrible. And then
there was some time there where he was doing stuff I was genuinely interested in, and he wasn't the star of them really though. Mm-hmm. Like in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then he just kind of fell off or something. I don't know. He just started doing.
I remember he was in Frailty. He had a small, like, kind of a supporting role in that. I kind of like that movie. That was like the axe murder movie, Bill Paxton.
Well, within that year, there was Frailty and Reign of Fire.
Yeah.
Which I liked both of those. I didn't mind U571, and he was just kind of a dude in that.
Yeah.
And, Contact, he was literally just a dude.
He's kind of the religious, like, new age religious voice in that movie. Which, yeah, like, having seen it again, I did kind of forget he was in it. Yeah, no, I know. He had, like, almost a decade of, like, I'm going to do boring, predictable rom-com.
Well, it was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days probably made him realize that shit makes money.
And it's not hard to do.
And it's not hard to do. Because I just looked him up right now. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Sahara, Failure to Launch, Fool's Gold, like, Jesus.
The Fool's Gold, Failure to Launch, like, double, like, was
Ghost of Girlfriend's Past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he phoned it in for a long time, and then I don't know what was the, like, catalyzing factor or whatever, but...
I've been wanting to see The Paperboy, but I don't know if that's good.
That might be good. I don't know. It's the guy who directed Precious, which is not necessarily good at all.
I haven't seen that. I just know Fat Black Lady.
With chicken running. It's like...
So she's probably sassy as hell.
Yeah, it almost like, is this supposed to be doing stereotypes on purpose because it's aware? Or is it just clueless? I don't know. But critics thought it was great. And I don't know why. It was not a very good movie. But yeah, Oscar buzz, man. I think it's the right people produced it and got it in front of the right audiences. And it just kind of took off. Based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
Yeah.
That's been the running joke from that movie. But anyway, yeah, that was a movie. But anyway,
Mud
is good, and also Sam Shepard's in it, and he has a gun, and he's pretty cool.
Well, the public kind of disagrees with you because it's not doing good at the box office.
Actually, considering it's like a small budget movie, I've been impressed it's been in the top 10 at all.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Because it's been, well, you know what? Never mind. Because I'm looking at what it's being out by.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3.
I know.
Star Trek, Fast and Furious, and The Hangover Part 3.
Right.
Like,
so, like,
obviously.
Super mega marketed things. Like, I've been kind of just baffled that I've seen it on that list. Like, it making $2.5 million or whatever is actually a big win for that movie. So.
What about that movie Epic? That doesn't look that good.
No, it doesn't. That trailer has really overdramatic music that made it look kind of terrible.
Well, I'm just trying to think, like, does it not look good or just interesting? It doesn't look interesting.
It just doesn't look interesting. It's like, hey, Fern Gully, but with bland art style, and I don't know. Like, I don't know what that movie's about.
And then The Great Gatsby has what's-his-name in it, so fuck that, Leonardo.
Oh, you don't like that guy?
Not really.
Okay. I thought it was okay. I saw it. But, yeah, it was a decent movie.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me of that book enough, but that's not really the point. I
was going to say, that's not necessarily a selling point for me.
No, and like people, I think the reason I focus on that is just a lot of people were just criticizing that movie because it seemed like it would be a bad adaptation. I don't care. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I haven't read the book in a while. Point is, it was kind of an entertaining movie with enough thoughts in it and some style, and I thought it was fun. But,
okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I can get behind that.
That's actually that slight qualification on that. It is fun for like an hour, and then it gets really dramatic. And I don't know if I still don't 100% get like Baz Luhrmann's mixing of stuff. Like
so it's like Inception. Good for some of it.
No, I don't know what else to compare it to outside of his films. Like, have you seen Romeo and Juliet or Australia or Moulin Rouge?
Yeah, I have seen Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, like his 96 one?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just like hyper dramatic and hyperactive in a way. Like he still does that sometimes, and then when he tries to have a moment and treat it seriously, it's just like I mean, okay, like I applaud the effort, but I'm not as invested as I probably could have been if you were a little more, intentional about the rest of the stuff. It was fine. It was Jay-Z did the soundtrack. It's selling a bunch of copies. It's a weird, like asynchronous or asynchronous. That's not the word. What is that word that means that something is from a different time period and it doesn't make sense that it's here?
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. That's the word. You're right. No, whatever. There is music from other time periods in like the 1920s. It's just kind of silly, but yeah.
BioShock Infinite does the same thing.
It does. BioShock Infinite does do that,
and that means it's a bad game. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
that's not the reason why it's a bad game.
I don't know if I'd go even say like it's a bad game. It's just not important in the way people. It's fine. It was entertaining, but
yeah.
It's like maybe it's the same people. It's like criticizing like why is Inception like the number 9 movie on IMDb or something when it was for a while. Like, it's like it's a fun movie, but what are you doing? It's like slightly quieter, lower key Matrix. Like it's not crazy. It's not going to change the film forever or something, but whatever. Opinions.
Yeah. Speaking of opinions, you know what I did?
What?
I bought 1 month of premium membership for Giant Bomb to see what I've been missing.
Okay.
I've been missing the Daily Dota, which is huge.
What do you mean?
I love it. It's great.
Oh, you love it. I thought it was like it's really popular, and I was like, okay.
Oh, no. I love it. It's my favorite thing to watch.
Really?
Yeah, I love Dota and League of Legends. I just don't ever have anyone to play with.
Okay. As someone who's been super dismissive about MOBAs, I didn't understand why that was a thing, but okay. You're the audience. Interesting.
Somewhat.
Okay.
Yeah. But, so I've been watching that. I've been watching what I've been missing of TNTs, which I'm not overly impressed with.
No, yeah, I mean, if you're not participating in them, I don't know why you'd watch them, really. I've turned it on every now and then, specifically ones where they're not doing a specific game I don't care about. They're kind of just doing a grab bag of random stuff.
But, isn't that Unprofessional Fridays?
Maybe. This was a while ago. This was like, hey, we don't know what we're doing for TNT this week, so we have a bunch of like weird old games.
Okay, that's now Unprofessional Fridays, where each person chooses a game they play for 20 minutes or so.
Oh, okay.
I think. I don't
know there's
really...
also a Jurassic Park feature. I never really, like, even when I was a subscriber, which was as of, like, up to a month ago, I just didn't watch a lot of premium content, because it's like, hey, do you want to watch, like, Jeff Gerstmann talk for, like, an hour and a half? It's just like, no. I'd rather download this as an audio podcast, but it's not available like that.
Well, I've been doing that. I've been ripping the audio from it.
I guess that's a way to do it. It's just too much work.
It is a lot of work.
Because literally I'm at a point where I just download all my podcasts now directly to the device I'm about to listen to it to.
Yeah, I don't even transfer. I don't. Exactly.
Yeah. So once you go that way, you just can't go back.
Also, Stitcher. Stitcher's a great app for that too.
Yeah, just don't have to worry about it. Just stream it. If you have the data for it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I use up my data doing that sometimes because I don't use data for anything else. I found out, like when I'm home or somewhere with Wi-Fi, I use that. So the bus is like the only place where I don't have Wi-Fi. Yeah, so that's where I end up using most of my data. But I
don't think what others like. They just announced they were going to do a movie podcast, which was going to be Behind the Wall, which sounded kind of interesting because Matt Rory's back.
Well, Rory and Navarro.
Yeah, so Screened is kind of back in a way, which was interesting to me. But again, subscribers, and I don't want to pay $50 to listen to a podcast,
especially for Navarro.
You don't like Navarro still?
No, I just don't like his opinions.
Oh,
because not because he has different opinions necessarily. But I think the reason why he thinks the way he does is simply to be different, and that bothers me.
I don't know. He got on that drive train just like everybody. So I'm not sure.
That's what you keep going back to?
Yeah, that's like where we parted ways. No, I don't know.
How do you feel about Rory being back? That's kind of weird, right?
It's cool. Like, it seemed like an obvious thing that should happen for a while.
He's like the community manager now.
Yeah, like, it's just like, doesn't he live in the same city? And he's unemployed right now. And you guys have a big giant corporate sponsor now. Why the hell doesn't Mount Rory work with you guys? Like,
right, but the thing is, he was unemployed for like a year and a half before they hired him back.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
I'm assuming it's just like the people we would want to be making those decisions aren't actually capable of making them. Which means, in a way, Giant Bomb's back in a weird position where they have weird corporate overlords again. And, alright, that kind of went bad last time, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think since the internet's like arguably bigger than it was back then, that it would be foolhardy for the corporate guys to get rid of them because they are more of the internet presence there than GameSpot is.
Than there was before. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, the internet of 9 years ago, or like, well, I guess 6 years since the firing and everything. That's just not the same anymore. I'm trying to, like, well, I guess the
Patrick's leaving. Patrick's leaving as well.
Well, he's heading to Chicago. So
he's not leaving, but yeah.
On the podcast anymore, I'm assuming. And probably not as many quick looks and stuff, which people have never let up complaining about those.
Really?
Yeah, like every time I find myself on YouTube watching a quick look or something, it's just like, oh, what are the comments? Oh, right, of course, everyone's complaining that Patrick is here. Okay. Huh. Like that continues to happen. But, yeah. I mean, dude does keep his ear to the indie stuff more than they used to, which I do like. So.
Well, I mean, it's just because he's friends with the Idle Thumbs guys. Really.
Maybe. Like, that does seem to be like, is this the point where all of this stuff flows from, is actually these guys?
Yeah, I think it is.
We've been getting, like, runoff from Idle Thumbs this whole time, and we just didn't know. It's like, oh, huh, weird. A month after Idle Thumbs talked about Cart Life, now it's on Giant Bomb.
Yeah, and it's weird because, like, I know
that's where I got it, so whatever.
It's weird, and I know it's bad to, like, think this way, but I have kind of a weird elitist attitude.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, Ryan Davis is talking about Cart Life right now? Well, guess what, motherfucker? Shit happened a long time ago. Thumbs, baby.
It's kind of
like your audience doesn't deserve to know this.
It's a little weird because it's just me like, are we just not marketing ourselves well? Because like Sup Holmes just had the Crunch guys. It's just like, oh, we did that
a long time ago.
Sup Holmes just had Richard Hoffmeyer. We did that.
I know, but it's this thing where it's like, we did that, and it's like,
and no one noticed.
And then people are just like, yeah, but that was just like last month. It's like, motherfucker, it went up last month. We did that like half a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I might be doing something wrong. Like, I'm glad we've done them though, because like that's at least maybe a point of conversation for E3 discussions. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, I talked to that guy, or something. Just like a point of comparable relatability or something. I don't know. I'm just like imagining things that could happen in my head. But who knows?
It's all about the audience.
It's all about the audience. You're right. But I wish, like, I don't know. I feel like we maybe
go ahead and say it. It's fine.
We should make it bigger somehow. How do we do that?
Put stuff out.
Put stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We've been lacking in that, to be completely fair.
Really?
Yeah, we've been doing one podcast a week.
Okay.
Don't you think?
I wrote that Pain and Gain review.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess I feel like I'm doing 2 podcasts a week because there's that other top-down perspective. But, yeah.
There's that other.
There's that other one.
Yeah, there's that other thing. It's just like,
no, that's an enjoyable thing too. It's just different. But I guess I haven't really been. I'm gonna.
No, yeah, it's not just you. It's
my monthly scapegoat. This time it's the move. Couldn't focus on it because of the move. That's my excuse.
Dude, a move takes anybody a day, not a month.
If you're doing it all wrong like me.
So how's the move going? Move Watch 2013.
We threw away the couch and the mattress today.
Yeah.
And I'm here ostensibly getting the last of the stuff that needs to go over, and it's way more stuff than it should be.
Yeah.
That would be sad.
That last one is terrible because you're just like, oh, I only have this left, and then you see it, you're like, this is so much.
And also, like, it's like, somehow it became an order of, like, stuff I like. So now it's like, now we gotta go back for all that dumb shit that I hate. And I don't know why I own.
Yeah,
like,
it's just like, I just want to leave it there, and whoever gets the house gets it.
Like, I'm just looking at this stuff. Like, there's a lot of dumb things. Like, it's like, I have this construction helmet, and I had a wheelchair as of 6 hours ago. But I gave it away.
You got rid of the wheelchair.
I had to get rid of it.
Okay, so that video is now a classic limited edition thing.
Yeah, that is the only time I will ever be sitting in that wheelchair. I still have that Bioshock mask, though, so don't be scared about that.
Okay, so we're good.
Yeah, but, like, multiple coolers, like a Star Wars rifle that has no battery in it. Like, just, like, stuff that I thought was cool enough to own, but not necessarily, like, keep forever. Like, it was stuff that was in the storage room kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I have this VCR and a bunch of CDs and an old TV and a CD player. And, like, just, like, stuff that's like, well, I don't want to just chuck it, but this is not, like, this is going to move from this storage room to another storage room in another building. Like, it's just like, at some point, we're honestly, I think we're going to have a garage sale. I have a car full of dumb stuff that is it's got to go. And, yeah, there's probably going to be a garage sale. Hey, remember Rock Band?
Yes, I do.
I have a drum stool and a mic stand and a full set of instruments. How much?
Oh, not only do you have the actual game controllers, you have peripherals for the peripherals.
Third-party peripherals for my peripherals. Yep. How much? I'll give you $1.
Dude, I will give you 5 to not bring it here.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because I have a set of drums. I don't know if they're sitting here or in my parents' garage, but like they were a point of contention where it's just like there's nothing else we can fit in this van, and somehow these stupid fucking drums have to get in.
Yep.
So,
well, that rhythm game boom. Like, one of my previous loads of stuff was 3 Guitar Heroes and DJ Hero, and it's
amazing.
Just like, I have made horrible choices. Like, this was cool in 2005 when I was the guy at the party with this game. That was great. But now here we are almost a decade later, and it's like, oh, but I have all those memories. I can't give it away. It's an original. It's an original guitar.
I know. I have that feeling
but
too.
No one's going to want it ever.
Like, I still have the original stickers that are, like, peeling off a little bit because I used it too much.
Oh, okay, yeah. Whereas I'm like, I'm keeping these Red Octane stickers pristine, yo.
Not me.
The guitar. I'm gonna use the strap like a bit, but try not to.
You could almost make like a project out of them or something, like a mini table or a stool.
Like, try to repurpose all my game stuff into something useful that is not that.
Yeah, you could be like that crazy artsy bitch in Storage Wars, Texas that always hangs out with Mo. Just be like, this grand piano is now a fish tank. And everybody's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yep. No one wants a grand piano, but a crazy fish tank. Awesome.
Exactly. Everybody wants a crazy fish tank that's just sitting there that you can't move around because it's in a, 1,000-pound piano.
No one wants that either. That sounds like a opposite direction you'd go. But, like, stuff, I've definitely seen people where it's like, hey, I turned this old NES into a lunchbox or into an emulation thing or into a PC, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
As a person with a working NES and then a broken one I can't throw away for some reason because it's an original, I don't know.
I know. I have the same thing. Like, my original one is all yellow and broken and not working, but it's the one, it has candle wax on it. But it's the one from which I played my first Zelda and Mario games on. So it's like, you can't get rid of that. But then at the same time, yes, you can because it's garbage.
It is. I know. Like, we did a load of electronics recycling, and for some reason, my broken GameCube was not allowed to go in it. Because it's like, no, I played Animal Crossing on that for months. That's the thing. And it's like, you still own Animal Crossing, a new GameCube, and a Wii U. You could play this on 3 different machines. Also, Brittany owns a Wii and a Wii U. It's, nonsense. There's no reason for any of this.
To add insult to injury, I've been meaning to do that project where you put basically like a USB stick or like a SD card or something and the Raspberry Pi thing.
Yeah.
In an NES controller and just like fill it and change it so it's a USB output. And you just basically are able to, like, when you're done with it, plug that bitch into any PC and just play emulated games.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do that so badly. And if I do, it'll just be like, why do I even own these cartridges?
I'm trying to think what else is, like, becoming that crisis point. Like, DVDs is one.
DVDs have passed that point. Blu-rays not so much because they're still a thing.
But like my DVD criteria is, well, if it has a commentary, I'm going to keep it. But that's a lot still, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, well, at some point it's like, am I really going to ever watch this? Even like, it's like, hey, if you really want to know how Baby Mama was made, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler can tell you.
Dude, I have that DVD too.
I have the Blu-ray of it.
Okay, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it's, you know, I made a lot of this happens every time I get a job near media. Like, games, I got tons of games, then I worked at Blockbuster and got tons of movies. Like, it's like, hey, I don't hate that Friday the 13th remake, why not buy that on Blu-ray? Oh, look,
dude,
Final Destination.
Blockbuster was the worst
10.
for that, though, because it was like, buy 3 movies and get 4 free or something.
Yeah, they were just throwing
like,
movies
okay.
at you. And you're just like, this is a great deal. No, see, the secret game they're playing
They knew.
We want to get these off our shelves because they're taking up space. Please take them. But we're going to spin it like it's a great deal for you, and then you bring them home and realize, wait, I don't have shelf space.
Dude, they knew all along.
Yeah.
They knew what they were
Sure
doing.
did. And I have a whole bag full of cases for DVDs.
I have Rise of Nightmares here that I got for like $5.
Yeah.
And I mean, besides that stream night, that shit'll never get played. So,
like, I bought some virtual tennis games. I don't know why. I think I gave them away. Those I got rid of eventually.
Jesus,
but,
I would hope so.
Yeah, it was like, well, $1, 1,000 achievement points for $1. That's a good deal. Like, this was the rationale at the time.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's bad. It's like, I don't hate tennis games necessarily either, but why would I ever play Virtual Tennis 2009? I wouldn't.
Sure.
So, yeah, no, that happens. Like, things get cheap enough, it starts to mess with your logic. However, I guess the past week of Kijiji experiences has led me to a few potential revelations. People don't want your garbage either, so you kind of have to pitch it as though it's a deal. You know? Like,
yeah,
it's like,
if you put something up for free, you will likely not get rid of it.
However, I have been putting stuff out for free. The differentiating factor for me has been, oh, it's sitting outside, just take it. No one wants that. If it's in your house and they come into your house, they think they're getting part of your life or something. Like, this is part of your active furniture roster. So this is still cool. You just don't want it anymore or something. So,
and also what you got to do is that if you buy 3, I'll throw in this for free.
Right.
And then people are like, oh my god, that's a good deal. But it's like, no, it's not. It's virtual tennis.
The thing that's annoying to me is, like, the people that will contact you and say, like, all right, yeah, I'll come and get it. Okay, it's I'll put it outside for you. Day and a half goes by. Email, hey, what happened? Oh, like, no, actually, no. There's no oh. I sent an email, no response. I sent another one, no response. I've wasted like 30 hours of time that this could have gone away. You know, like,
you were too needy. You sent too many emails.
Well, but, like, where were they? Why didn't they come? Or, like, some people do come, and then they just don't ring the doorbell or something. So they're just like, yeah, where was it? I was in my house. I was going to give it to you. Oh, well, I'm across town now, so... And then that's the end of it. Like, it's just, like, great. Now I have, like, perfectly good furniture that people did want, but then decided they didn't want on the way here. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on.
What are some good deals you've gotten from Kijiji?
Like, me personally acquiring stuff?
Yeah, let's go the other way on this.
Well, recently we got this, like, closet type hanger thing. Like, I need a place to put my clothes without a closet space, so it's kind of like a IKEA freestanding thing. That was pretty good. Fit perfectly in the vehicle we had too. I'm trying to think of like really surprising. Like I haven't done much awesome bargain finding on Kijiji. Like I got Skyrim that way, but it was like 40 instead of 60. So whatever.
Sure.
I got Splinter Cell, that Chaos Theory one, for like $5, but I had to go way up into like the northwest somewhere to find it. Northwest, I think, like deep. There was like forests out there. Like it was just like, oh, I didn't know this part of the city existed. Crazy.
I don't think you're doing Kijiji right if those are your best finds.
I know. I'm just listening to things I've found. I mostly use it as a way of getting rid of things. Like posting a vacuum cleaner and just being like, just take it, and then within 10 minutes it's disappeared magically. Like that stuff's cool. Like when you go outside and you're just like, wait a minute, oh, it's gone already. Fantastic. This is what I want to happen. Or like I left a bag of like old sports games and wrestling games and junk I didn't want. It's just like, I'll leave it in a bag here. Just take it, get back from work, it's gone. Like that's the kind of, I don't want to see anybody. I just want it to feel like a drug deal, but it's not. Because it's just giving people stuff. But I want it to seem shady and sinister. Like I'm going to leave this under a park bench or something and then just walk away and then return later and be like, yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
I did it. So
I got a 3DS with Ocarina of Time 3D for $100.
That's really good.
That's pretty decent, I thought.
Yeah, I haven't really been...
The month after the Nexus 7 tablet came out, the asking price for the 32 gig one or whatever, which I got on Kijiji, was like $700. I got it for $200.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, the person just didn't want it because they like Apple better.
Okay.
So it's just like, why did you... You know what? It doesn't matter. Give it to me.
I guess that is a thing. Like, I mean... At some point, given the right pressures, everything is worthless. So you might stumble on that guy who's just like, me not having this is a gift to me, so please take it. Like, you could find someone in that position where it's just like, I lose possession of this building in 4 days. This entire thing is horrible now. Please take all of my things, because I don't want it.
I got most of the PlayStation 2 Star Wars games for $15, including the Call of Duty games for that.
Okay.
So that was okay. So I got a stack of like 10 games that day for $15.
I don't know if I consider getting a bunch of games a deal anymore.
Well, I was like, playing them.
I've fallen prey to, like, I was like just wandering around trying to kill time up near some pawn shops and stuff, and I was just like, man, 10 games for $10. This sounds like a great idea. And now I have like 10 original Xbox games I'll never play.
Well, you got to be picky about what games you buy too, right?
But the sequel to Blinks the Cat could be great, Paul. I've just never played it.
No, see, I've never done that, where it's just like I blind buy something because it looks like it might be okay.
Yeah.
Like I'll buy something because, hey, Battlefront was pretty cool, so I want that at Battlefront 2.
Honestly, yeah, it was like there was 2 games I wanted to play, one of which was like Rockstar's The Warriors or something. So I was like, oh, this is a black hole, like this is a void in my Rockstar knowledge. Sweet. Oh, wait, but if I get 9 more, I'll save $4.
Exactly.
Because I mean, it's like only $5. It's already $5 for just The Warriors by itself, and it's another $5 for this other game. It's like 8 free games.
You missed out not doing it.
Yeah, so I did do it. That's how I now own like that first 50-cent game that no one liked, Aggressive Inline for the PS2.
Great.
I got some classics.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
And yeah, the sequel to Blinks the Cat. It doesn't have the manual though. I was bummed out.
The one thing I missed out on that I kept bugging the person and hoping that I would get it, but we were texting back and forth, but I could just never get out there because she lived in Mount Royal, in that area, and I didn't have a vehicle to hold it, but it was a promo cutout of Jim Raynor for StarCraft 2, life size. It's the worst thing I ever missed out on, man. My life is over.
That's the thing. Like, standees, I had to get rid of some. I was like, I have this Darth Vader and, like, Simpsons. I was like, why do I have this? Like, what am I doing? Like, that was a pretty early cut. And, like, those are things that seem like an awesome thing when you acquire them, but as soon as you don't have space, they're the worst thing ever. Like,
yeah, but you can cut them up and destroy them.
You can cut them up. I actually still have part of a Mario Galaxy one because it's just a cool looking Mario with like stars and junk that I can throw up somewhere. I don't know if that's a good idea still, but I don't know. Something about it. It sort of still works. But originally it was a rotating, like him spinning on a thing, and there was like this little stand for it and everything, and this like battery powered motor thing. But water damage, so I had to throw away a lot of that. There was a incident with my washer.
Okay.
Anyway, now we're getting into like the history of weird domestic things that happened in this building. I'm getting a little nostalgia maybe for this place.
Probably not a good thing. I'm just going to quickly move on and say that I watched a lot of speed runs.
Okay.
Because Awesome Games Done Quick happened in January of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a week where a bunch of dudes get together, like an expo sort of thing, but not really. Like, at the expos, how they have like the classic console section and stuff like that, the rooms.
Yeah.
That's all this was, where speedrunners would get together and speedrun games for a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been watching a shitload of those. Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. I watched basically all the Mega Man games, including the X games.
Is this people like gathering in a place to do this? Or
yeah, the Doom games, Doom 1 and 2.
Where did this happen?
I don't honestly know where it happens.
Okay.
But it's SpeedDemoArchive.com, or on YouTube it's SpeedDemoArchive SDA, if you want to look it up.
So wait, you're saying Donkey Kong Country Mega Man? What were some other ones?
That I watched? Metroid Zero Mission. It was a speedrun race where one dude just wiped the floor with the other one. 2 of the Castlevania games, 1 and 3 specifically. You know what? I'm just going to quickly click here because I, for some reason, decided to bring this up, and it's a good thing I did because
how fast are these on average? Like Metroid Zero Mission, how long was that?
40 minutes or 30 minutes.
Okay.
Something in there. Like Doom 2 is 40 minutes. Doom 1 was 31 minutes. And like these aren't like going for records. These are just dudes that play the game really well, doing it with people and a live stream going on.
Mm-hmm.
So like these times for them aren't even good. I watched someone do VVVVVV today.
Yeah.
With all trinkets in 20 minutes.
What the hell?
And only 44 deaths, and he was like, that was a bad run.
Wow.
Like, fuck you.
Okay.
Like, fuck you, bro.
That's awesome.
There's other ones, like Legend of Zelda Link to the Past is like an hour and 30 minutes, and there's some longer ones too, but I mean, it's just because they're longer games, not because they're being done slow.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll name off, or I watched somebody do the, not 100%, but any percent completion of Super Meat Boy, and that was done in 30 or 40 minutes.
Okay.
So, like, just stuff like that. I'll name off some of the stuff they've done that I just pulled up here. So they have Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, Doom 1 and 2, Mass Effect, Metal Morph Time Splitters, Fallout 1 and 2, the originals, not the like new ones there.
Sprawling new ones, yeah.
Yeah, Super Monkey Ball, the Mega Man games, the Metroid games, basically the Super Mario games, Jet Set Radio, Pokemon Snap, the VVVVVV. I think I said it enough times that time.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, Echo the Dolphin, Metroid Prime games, if you didn't include those with the Metro games, the Die Hard games, Left 4 Dead, Sonic games, the Ghouls and Ghosts games, Amnesia, The Dark Descent, Dark Souls. Like, it was a week, right? So, and with people that can beat some of these games within half an hour, 40 minutes, or an hour, like, that's a lot of time. Mm-hmm. So, they have a lot of videos. GoldenEye was another one. The 3D Zelda games, it looks like they did a few of those. So yeah, I've been watching the shit out of some of those.
Is the commentary interesting? Or?
Yeah, it is for some of them. Like some of the guys that are really deep into it, they have kind of their posse. Like the Doom guy specifically, like since Doom is kind of difficult, he was playing on Ultraviolence, the second hardest, which is actually it's the hardest one without enemies respawning constantly and being too fast. Because Nightmare is just unfair. I think the game even says like, are you sure this version is like not fair at all when you try to start it? So it's basically the highest difficulty. So he's concentrating, but he has 2 or 3 guys in the background that he hangs out with or just know the game or something, and they're explaining what he's doing. It's like he's doing this glitch here where this is pixel perfect or whatever, so he has to get the exact spot and hit it at this like perfect angle or whatever to be able to pass this part and blah blah blah. Or like some of them that don't have to concentrate as hard, like the Donkey Kong Country guy will be like, I purposely take damage here because it'll boost me up here, and as he's saying it, it's happening. It's like, and then now with Dixie, I can just float across this whole area and blah blah blah, like just stuff like that. And that's the interesting part. Watching speedruns inherently isn't interesting to me, but like when they're actually talking about what they're doing and why they're doing and what it'll do, that's cool. How they're
it's making you kind of look at the game in a new way.
Yeah, they're gaming it. And like in Castlevania, there's this one part at the beginning where the guy's like, if I time this right, this battle hit me over this ledge and stuff like that. Like they take damage purposefully to get past points and that whole sort of thing. So they're just exploiting everything in the game without breaking it.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool. And you can get lost in that because, like I said, some speedruns maybe like 10 minutes, like Super Mario World here, 14 minutes, 30 seconds, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Then right beside it, Metroid Prime, an hour and 45 minutes. So it's just like...
So you got like feature film length video game playthroughs.
Amnesia: The Dark Descent is 2 hours, and that's a speedrun.
Huh.
Yeah, so some of them, The Binding of Isaac, that's probably going to be my next watch. I don't know. But yeah, so I've been watching a shitload of that, and it's been making me want to play old games that I used to play and try these out, but then at the same time I realize that if I try that and I'm not doing it right, I'm probably going to get discouraged. So
you might have fun.
Better let the pros do what the pros do, I think.
I guess so.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, just brief recap, not a recap, just to fold back on an Xbox One point.
Sure.
We were talking about the Kinect and how it's there. Does the idea of having a camera in your house looking at you all the time make you nervous in any way? That Microsoft is watching.
No.
Exactly. Me too. Like, people are worried about it, and it's just like, no, whatever, man. If you want to watch.
Because fine. I'll tell you something. Google Glass, if that has a data plan with it, and in Canada we get data that isn't ridiculous and we get unlimited, I will literally be streaming everything in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Truman Show is a model for how we're supposed to be.
Kind of.
I think, yeah. It just makes sense.
I don't believe in privacy.
I don't quite get the concern over it. Like, I guess it was... I just saw a thread title that was like, in Germany, this has been classified as a monitoring device. You're just like, oh, weird. Okay. But, I don't know. Shrug. I'm not that worried about it.
Sure.
Anyway, I gotta go, though. It's getting kind of late. So, do you want to do the wrapping up with the thing? And the emails? And the Facebooks?
I was trying to think of a rap to do lyrics from, but you put me on the spot, so instead
you can kind of wrap the stuff.
I'll just say that email address is podcast@pixel-response.com. Facebook is facebook.com/thepixelresponse.
Maybe we should alternate things. So it's like, hey, check us out on Stitcher. We're up on there too.
Yeah, just search Pixel Response. You could.
And hey, if you guys want on the iTunes, you can review stuff if you like. So you could write something, like just drop a line about like, hey, this podcast is, and you fill out the rest, and put a star next to it, or 4 or 5 of them, whichever, something like that. Talk to us on Twitter. Yeah, Twitter, we're on there too. Pixel Response, also us individually. Exfo sure, you all know how to spell that because you're watching it. EXFAUXSURE. Yeah, but then there's also me, Krasnor, with KRAZNOR, or Z if you prefer. Sure. Yeah. We're Twitch. We're like, this is there right now every Monday. Sure. At some point on Monday. This one was a little late, but thanks for joining us to those that came out. That's Twitch TV/Exposure, right? Something like that. Yeah, we'll probably just keep it on that for now. Yeah, there you go. I think so. There's that Podsicle, if you want to watch that. We already mentioned that. Kill Screen is a thing that happens every so often, kind of whenever people feel like it. Whenever
one of us is around.
Things line up and that works out.
Globe-trotting motherfucker.
Yeah, if you want to know whether or not Pain and Gain is the best movie, you could go to the website and check out that or other things.
Sure.
You know? That's pixelresponse.com. If you want to go to E3 and then be like, hey, that guy's wearing a Dance Party Mega 64 shirt. I wonder if that's Nathan from that podcast. It probably is. It might be me. It might be. So you can say hi.
You should say hi anyways, because everybody at E3 is friendly.
Yeah, just say hi to pretty much everybody there. But actually, that's not necessarily true.
No, that's not at all.
Yeah, there's some serious business folk there that are not having fun and hate that they're there. But you'll be able to tell.
That might be you.
I don't think so.
Give it a couple years.
You're right. That could happen. But anyway, sorry I interrupted the whole flow. What were the other things that were remaining to be mentioned? The email addresses?
There wasn't. Podcast
That's it?
Pixel-response.com. That's the email.
Okay, and you can send us questions via anything. We don't have a regular question segment, but we could if questions happen routinely.
If they're good.
If they're good. Paul screens them, I guess, so...
Not really, but
Okay.
I don't know, I just don't... Everybody just says the same questions all the damn time.
Like, what's your favorite this? What's the most overrated that? Something like that. I don't mind those, but at some point, maybe something a little more philosophical, so... Whatever.
Philosophical.
A little more, yeah, just like, hey, what did you think of Immanuel Kant's essay on something? I don't even know if that's accurate. That's a philosopher. First one that came to mind.
Fast and Furious, what do you think?
Stuff like that. Important thoughts like that about Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Ask us those. And yeah, thanks for joining us. There you go.